I have guests on, it's always been from like a series of exchanges that I've had with them, relationships that I've built on throughout the years. You're one of the rare guests that I have, and I've had maybe like 4 or 5 over 161 episodes where I have not spoken to you. This is like the first time we've actually sit down and gotten to talk. So Anthony Byrd, I appreciate you coming on, man.
I appreciate being on here, man. I've heard of you, but I didn't really get a chance to see you until CXBJJ.
Yeah.
With the gi you had on. That was nice to see, man.
That was a joy. That was a treat. So Zach was the one who was like, let's do a battle of the podcast. And I was like, I wasn't training or anything. And it's not that I don't like jiu-jitsu. I actually love jiu-jitsu. I love grappling in general, and we'll talk about that.
Okay.
But I enjoy coaching wrestling more than I do practicing jiu-jitsu. And because I have limited time, it's like, okay, where am I going to put this time? I've chosen coaching. That being said, after that match, I had a lot of people kind of come up to me and they were like, I was having fun with it. And you could tell that some people were cool with that and some people were not. They were like, hey, what are you doing? And all these other things. And I was just trying to explain to people, like, if it was a no-gi match, I would have just worn a rash guard or whatever. But because it was gi, I'm like a 2-stripe white belt, like in the gi. And Zach's a 4-stripe purple belt. So like I did the pink belt to kind of poke fun at it a little bit.
That was kind of funny because at a distance, they're like, man, I think it's a pink belt. I'm like, well, maybe it's a purple belt.
It's a light purple belt.
But no, I thought the fights are all about entertainment and having fun.
Yes.
And Adam says in his little intro, don't be a dick. So you have kids there, you have adults, families are there. My son, who's 15, shows up. My oldest daughter comes. It's a great atmosphere. So just have fun with it, man. Yeah. I have my reggae on when I walk out, and I'm just laughing and having fun.
Well, that was the thing I was trying to think about. It was like, I don't want to take this too seriously. The whole goal of this is to have fun. Like, it's competitive. I want to win as much as the next man. But at the end of the day, if I lose, okay, I'm not getting hit in the head. I'm not getting cut open. Like, I'll tap if you put me in a position, whatever. Jiu-jitsu is weird in that sense where it's still competitive. So I came from like MMA and wrestling was like ultra competitive. You never wanted to lose a match.
Yes. Second place was the first loser.
Exactly. Oh
that
my
mentality.
God. Yes. And I'm not saying that I would have been happy if I lost. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is jiu-jitsu was weird. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I felt almost like I had nothing to lose.
I'm a little different. The super fight or super match, I know you don't like.
Well, you're a black belt. You're a black belt. It's a different level. It's a different story.
So I want the challenge, but it's fun. At the end of the day, my opponent, me and Colin, walked off the mats, no injuries. He gets the nod, have fun. Now, when I do other jiu-jitsu tournaments, I want to win, period. So the super fights, I want to win. I want to win the belt, but it's just a little different for me. It's having fun. I want to go out there and dominate, but the tournaments, I just want to win them. I want double goal, and that's always kind of my goal.
The first time I've seen you compete was at Adam Seller's CXBJJ show, but obviously at that point, you were already a black belt. So like that is my first time seeing Anthony Byrd. But clearly you had been training for multiple years, if not decades plus. So can we, before we talk about like the current, I do want to take a small step back and say, how was it that Anthony Byrd found himself on the mats of a jiu-jitsu gym to begin with?
It's honestly two answers to your question. The first one is I wrestled in high school, so that was kind of my segue into like loving grappling. But also I work in federal law enforcement, and you go to the training academy for 6 weeks, and you learn all kinds of things, and then you get to see that what we do can be dangerous. And so I wanted to be a safety instructor, so I went down to FLETC, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in South Carolina, and became an officer safety instructor. And when the instructor said, you might want to add another tool to your tool belt to give you another skill. And he said, you should either do boxing, Muay Thai, or jiu-jitsu. And so I went the jiu-jitsu route. And that is, if I'm in like a bad situation, I can use my jiu-jitsu. And I feel like that's my superpower, that I don't have other tools I want to use. We're in close proximity, I can put my hands on you. Versus I have to pull out a firearm or anything like that.
No, absolutely. So. We've had multiple law enforcement guests on, and I think the common theme from all of those conversations is, additional training, additional knowledge will de-escalate situations And when you have an officer who is both more comfortable in those environments and more well versed in de-escalation because they are, I always say, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
I
And
use the exact same.
if you have a bunch of police officers with a bunch of deadly weapons on their belt or on their person, and they don't necessarily feel adequate with their own physical skill sets to prevent or de-escalate a situation, what are they going to refer to? The weapons that they have.
Yes.
So yeah.
And not knocking any police officers, but if you watch some of the videos, you'll see them immediately draw their weapon because that's what they train to do. Versus, I feel like we add another tool. You can call me all kinds of names, and I'm not going to. I don't feel threatened to it. In my head, I've choked you out. I know by your stance if you have any fighting skills. Look at your ear. Okay, you have some, none. You just don't know. And then you can see guys that put the little chin up. Oh, you can't fight at all. So I would say you understand the pre-assault indicators and you check on if they can really fight or not. And then I don't even have to put my hands on somebody. But that's what got me into jiu-jitsu.
So jiu-jitsu was kind of a byproduct of a love for wrestling, that continuation of grappling, but also kind of a necessity in the line of work that you chose.
Yes.
When you say that you wanted to also be a safety instructor, why? Like, why that path? Why not? Because you're in federal law enforcement, so
Yes.
you can go into many different lines of work, or drug. You can go into narcotics or drugs, but then you can also go into. I want to be careful how I say this because I think she's in the FBI now. So I have an individual who is a friend who does I want to be careful how much I can say.
I
She's in a very similar line of work, and she now works for the FBI. But she could have, for like 10 years before she went into the FBI, she worked as like an undercover crackhead. Like, she would go buy drugs from people to try to find who the suppliers were.
Yeah, I have friends that do that too.
Yeah, okay, so
That are police officers, they do that. Yes, I mean I see them. There's a couple people I know. They'll change their whole appearance.
Yes,
the beards out, the way they dress, carry themselves, and I know, okay, you're working something, and keep my distance from them. But
because you'll see them out and about.
Oh, for sure.
But you'll be doing like
or I'll just like run into them at the store, and I just know that they're unkept for a reason, and they could be off work, but they're just growing their hair out to fit into whatever environment that they're looking at. But as far as the safety piece, I think it's just, I enjoy helping people, kind of like a mentor thing. And I just feel like I want to help my coworkers out. And then as an instructor, I want to be able to fill in the holes. Because if you go to any academy that teaches any defensive tactic stuff, they show you the bare basics. It is for everyone. It's for the average person to utilize the moves if something happens. I want to fill the holes in. Because if they're just on elbows, if I'm 5'6" and somebody's 6'5", what tactic do I have?
Yeah, it's a different story.
So I'm trying to show them what else to add. So
in that 6 weeks basic training, how much? I want to be careful how I ask this question. Like, how much time do you think is spent on the self-defense portion? Because that 6 weeks is also, or however many weeks, is also to tell them, or to educate people on proper, processes, how to, interact with individuals. There's also the soft skills taught with the hard skills. But how much time in a pie chart do you think is given to physical self-defense in that training regimen?
What I can say is an adequate amount of it. Okay. There's certain parts like I'm not going to like overindulge on too much, but an adequate enough that you should walk away being able to get out of any situation, or at least you've had some type of like scenario training to help you in that environment.
Gotcha.
But there's the de-escalation portion of it too. But you have to understand that something can happen pretty fast. You need to be able to react.
It's a dangerous job. Well, shout out to you for doing that line of work, man. Shout out to everybody in first responders, but also like, I hate to say it this way, but like specifically law enforcement. Not to say that firefighters or EMTs or anything like that are not as important. I think the line of work is all dangerous, but for some reason, law enforcement, you guys are,
Because people can love us.
Yeah,
Or
you
they
guys
can
are
hate us,
interacting with some of the, if a house is on fire, there's obviously inherent danger with that, but it's different from being called to the scene of an active, altercation or something, and now you're being brought in, and maybe there's 20 people there, and 5 of them are looking you funny, and the other 5 are so glad to see you, and it's difficult to, you know what I mean, bring that
That's the
situation
world we
in.
navigate into. So.
Yeah. How many years have you been doing that?
Going on 20 years.
No shit.
I've been in criminal justice field for 25, 26 years. But I've been at the federal job for almost 20 years.
God bless, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that was how you kind of found your way into a jiu-jitsu gym.
Yes.
Obviously, your affinity for martial arts kind of exceeded just the need for work because you stayed with it up to and including becoming a black belt in that skill set, which is, well done, sir.
So what happened was I signed up for the 5:30 a.m. class. I was married at the time.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I was married at the time and we had kids.
Okay.
And they were smaller, and that was.
Not all men are created equal, Anthony. I get it. You don't have to.
But
he said I'm a 5:30 guy. I'm better than you.
At that time I was. I can't do it now. But that's what my training was, and I would go every Tuesday and Friday. That was my regimen, my process. Then you know who Andrew Sanchez is?
Yeah. El Dirte?
Yes, El Dirte. And then Andrew Cheeseman, they were training at my former gym, and they went on Tuesday nights. So then I would come home like, hey, man, can I go on Tuesday nights? It's a good class. And so then I would go to the evening Tuesday night class, and then they went to the next night class. And then it just kind of progressively grew. And then my competitive edge kicked in. So now I want to compete. So now I need to train more. So that's where I started, was the early classes. And then I was going, I'd rather be at I'd rather be at Jits at 5:30 in the evening, Friday nights, than going to a bar. So at a certain point, it was I'd rather train. And then I would say there were times where like me and my ex-wife would kind of have our little issues, but she understood that he's not going out to the clubs. He likes to train. So Friday nights, I'm rolling with guys in pajamas, and having fun, choking each other out.
Pause.
So. But
when you say that you got competitive, forgive me for asking, was it only exclusively in the sport of jiu-jitsu? Did you ever think about branching out into like MMA or boxing or any other sort of martial art as well? Or was grappling what had your heart?
By the time I started jiu-jitsu, I was in my 30s. So I went to a smaller MMA gym for a short period of time. No, I went to a smaller karate school that had a MMA class. And there was a karate sensei who was really good, but he showed a little bit of jiu-jitsu. And just the striking there, I mean, you know how you block kicks and stuff like that. I'm getting Charlie horses in my leg, and I'm not recovering like I was when I was in my 20s. So the MMA portion was like a small period of time, and then just getting hit in the face. I'm a wrestler. I'm not used to getting punched in the face. So it was just a short-lived, but I just fell in love with jiu-jitsu. Once I walked into BJJ Lifestyle Academy, I was hooked, man. I mean, put the gi on, and it was
The
awesome.
rest is history.
Yes.
So then let me ask, how long did it take you to acquire the black belt?
About 8 years.
8 years.
Yes.
Wow. No, that's not bad at all, man. Congratulations. And then since then, obviously, you've been a black belt for how many years?
I'll reach 9 years as a black belt next year. So,
less, so
talking 8 years.
You're
Yeah.
getting now to the point where you've been a black belt longer than you haven't been.
Yes.
In terms
yeah,
of your
that's
jiu-jitsu acumen.
That's what I think about.
Yeah.
I don't think about it like that. I just know I get my third stripe next October, but
Can I ask what that feels like? Because I'm not a black belt. There is a lot of infatuation with the belting system in jiu-jitsu because it's such a prevalent form of progression, right? The stripes on the belts leading into the different colored belts. But then you get to black belt and it's not that it's the end, but then the progression is really halted, right? I mean, the promotions are few and far between.
yes.
And I mean, the difference between a second degree or a third degree black belt could be a chasm or it could be a puddle because the way the belting system works in jiu-jitsu is, you guys can have these black belts now at like 22, 23 years old, these phenoms, and you can have the guy who started at 30 who's now like 45 and he's a black belt, yet they would still be considered equivalent, skill set, right?
Yes.
What is it like? This is kind of like an obtuse, stupid question, but it's genuine. Like, what is it like being a black belt? When you walk on the mats, I'm sure there's a lot of people that like want to roll with you or maybe even want to beat you to say that they beat a black belt. So like, is it a different environment now versus when you were a blue belt or a purple belt or a brown belt?
I felt the ego more a brown belt than that black
Really?
belt. Yes. Because just with my job, I would go to different gyms. And I remember going to a gym in South Carolina as a brown belt, and I could tell guys were kind of coming at me pretty hard.
Other brown belts or?
Just their
everybody?
school, their members.
Oh, everybody.
Their members, yes.
Damn.
I gotta,
It's like
because I
equal.
think sometimes you go to a gym, they think like, is he really a brown belt? Is he really this or
They
that?
wanted to like test you.
Yes. Yes.
Is that wrong, you think?
No, because honestly, if I was a purple belt, I'd probably do the same thing with a brown belt. I want to see like how good this guy really is. At black belt, I don't feel that as much. I think at black belt, depending on where I go, you get respect. I'm not used to being called professor, even still. And I go to a new gym, like, hey, professor. Or even my own gym, the guys will say, hey, professor. So I have to get used to that part.
That's pretty badass.
I'm just pretty humble with just being a black belt. That's just, I enjoy training. I stopped chasing the belt a long time ago. I've just enjoyed the journey. So now I'll take the props and respect from people, but I'm just me. I'm just a black belt that loves jiu-jitsu. I love to compete. I love to coach.
So that aspect of competition, where does that come from? I'm curious because I've seen you compete now. I think at CXBJJ specifically. I think 3 or 4 times. Let's put it this way. The 5 shows I've been there, I think I've seen you compete at almost every show.
Yeah, I've come done
So
4
you're
times.
yeah okay. So damn okay. So I might be one for one at least on that one. But it's been interesting because you've been so consistent with that competition. I'm just curious what. I want to be careful how I ask this. So I'm 33 years old. There is no fire in me anymore to compete in MMA. I feel like that part of my life is like over and done with.
Oh.
And if you ask me like, Ariane, would you get back in the cage? I'd be like, dude, you'd have to pay me so much money. It wouldn't make sense. Right. And even then, let's.
You're not sure. Okay.
But then I see someone like you who's still fucking doing the damn thing consistently at a high level against other black belts. I'm a little bit in awe, to be honest with you. Where does that fire still stay at your age, at how long you've trained? Like, do you feel like you have something to prove? Is it something in your own self you're trying to acknowledge?
No, honestly, I was born with that drive. I know I was. I've played some type of sport since probably 4th grade that I can think of. Maybe from 3rd grade. I hate losing in PE class. My kids would call me like, "Dad, you would have been a go hard," but I hate losing, and so that drove me in wrestling. It drove me in jiu-jitsu, and now I'm 52 years old. I just enjoy competing. I'm glad that I'm healthy, and I thought that I was gonna retire a couple of years ago from like competing. I hurt my LCL. I was out for a while. I hurt my shoulder. I couldn't even put deodorant on without like my shoulder hurting. So I'm like, man, I need to just kind of slow down. But I've been blessed. I really haven't had a serious injury since that time.
Do you think if you did, you would pull back a little bit?
I would sit there and say yes, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't. I think if I tore maybe an ACL or something, then I probably would.
Yeah,
But if it's something that I can get back to faster, I think I will.
No, I'm not saying that you would ever like leave the sport or the martial art of jiu-jitsu. I'm talking about more of like the competition aspect. And that's interesting that you say that because I used to think of myself as that as well. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm speaking about that, I get that competitive edge from coaching now. Now that we're talking openly about it.
To other people.
Yeah. Like now I like watching the kids like progress and stuff like
Yes.
that. Like I get it from that. I feel like wow, it's funny because I asked the question, like I don't even know the answer for myself. I think, do you think that competition, loving competition, is that healthy or not?
Yes.
Why?
For me, it gives me something to shoot for. Set
A
some
drive,
goals.
like a North
Yeah, the
Star?
drive.
Okay, so then what if you didn't have competition? Like what if CXBJJ didn't exist? Would you still get the same fulfillment from jiu-jitsu?
Yes.
Okay.
Because now I'm transitioning into more coaching. So just like you were saying, perfect example was this past weekend. It was a St. Louis IBJJF Open. And 2 of the students from Fathom, I was really happy to see them compete and do well. One's a purple belt, no, one's a blue belt, female, and she would dominate the opponent. And before the match, she was worried about this person might do this, they may do that. And we helped coach her up. And she listened to all the instructions and she won. And I was so excited for her. Another guy, he's a white belt, and he went out there and he implemented his game plan. Pretty good. Never got rattled, never got in a bad position. The score was even. He had a triangle on the guy and won by ref decision, but he had the triangle locked in. And so watching them, I enjoyed that part.
This is another kind of loaded question. It's something that I kind of wrestle with as a coach because you're a competitor and a coach. So do you think that to be a competitor by virtue, by definition, is a selfish act, right? You have to think about yourself, your training, your nutrition,
Yes.
your sleep, all these other things. So in time of competition, you have to be a selfish individual. Yet to be a coach, to be a trainer, to be a mentor is a selfless act.
Yes.
How do you balance these?
I am surely going through that right now because I just transitioned to training under Fathom. And prior to that, my other gym, I was mainly like just a student, not really a coach. So I could train and adjust my schedule the way I wanted to. Now I'm helping coach at Fathom. And I'm there Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays.
So you have the responsibility of that schedule.
Yes. And then we have open mats on Sundays. And so now I'm trying to find that balance because my goal is Masters Worlds. I'm already signed up for Masters Worlds. And my thought is, how am I going to get my training in? Because we get there and Charles, Taylor, Ryan, I don't want to forget anybody's names, Joe.
Shout out everybody.
Yeah, shout out everybody. Everybody that helps out. And
You
so
know who
they're
you
there
are.
to exactly. So they're all helping to coach and help teach, run classes. And it's an hour class. So I'm trying to find out the balance of what I need to work on. So we'll see. Well, I mean,
So would you say that you're kind of figuring it out right now?
yes, I am.
One of the things that I noticed, so when I was in MMA, near like the half to the latter half of my career, that's when I started coaching classes, like doing the wrestling coaching and beginner striking coaching and all that other stuff. And I realized that when I was in camp for my own fights, I was a terrible coach because I just didn't care. I was
Yes.
like, why do I care about this guy who's coming in for his, free week trial class when I'm trying to get ready for an 8-week camp or whatever? And that's kind of why I bring that up because I do think that it can be done, by the way, because I've seen it be done. I've seen gym owners, I've seen coaches like simultaneously corner guys earlier in the card and then compete themselves later in the card.
Yep.
So I am by no means implying that it is impossible, but I do want to acknowledge the difficulty in balancing these because these are like almost like the yin yang, like they're just like polar opposites yet in the same circle. So it's interesting that you're, as experienced as you are, and I kind of like your answer. Like you're like, hey man, I'm figuring it out too, man. When you find the answer, will you let me know?
I'll let you know and my goal really is to try to help run class and then maybe stay afterwards and get some rolls in.
Yeah.
But recently I hurt my rib. So now I'm teaching class, but I'm like kind of sitting there and watching. So at a certain point, man, I'm sure I'll find my balance, whether it's like train from, I guess, 8 to 8:30, something like that. Just at least as long as I can get some quality rolls in, it should help me out. And then Sunday, I'll pick certain partners that I know they're going to push me. So maybe I'll go back to back, sit one out, and go again.
You have posted on your social media that you're also a wrestling coach. Is that current or former?
Former.
Yes.
Yes.
What level? How long? If you don't mind me asking.
It was middle school. It was Wolf Branch Middle School.
like Little League program then.
Yes. 5th through 8th.
Dude, you're doing the Lord's work then. Oh my God.
That was an interesting
Time of your life.
It sure was. Because you have the immature kids in there.
They just hit puberty.
Yes. And
Coming in, hey coach.
we had a lot of fun. I will say that. We had a lot of fun. It's a middle school group. So you have kids that wrestle for the little clubs, and you have kids that just walked out for wrestling. So you're learning to deal with the different personalities, skill levels, who's winning, who you don't want. They want to quit. They don't want to do the warm-ups. So, and this is what I used to do. they didn't know how much I worked out. So we would let them start the warm up.
They found out quick though.
And anytime they goofed around, I would lead the warm up. So at a certain point, they knew like, okay, Coach Byrd's gonna like run us because I'm gonna have them do sprints, shots across the mats, forward rolls, everything. But then you can pick up on the kids like if they don't work out during a warm up, they go to water fountain. They're like running around with all this energy. So I'd bring them back and do the same thing. So I mean, you're just picking personalities out and just it's having fun. And as competitive as I am, I like coaching the kids that was their first year wrestling that weren't that good. Because now I'm dealing with the mental aspect of it. Okay, what are you scared of? You're going to win or you're going to lose? But I'm starting to push them to get better. And there was one kid that when he went 0 for probably 10 or 15 the whole season. And I was like, man, I'm probably at the end of the year. And he's like, why, coach? I lost every match. And I said, the you at the beginning of the season is way different than got the end. Because we had like a end of the season tournament and he lost. And I said, that guy would have beat you in the first period the first time. This time he went the whole distance and barely lost. So I love that part of just like pulling out.
Progression.
Yes.
Not just that too, but then I try my hardest. So I will fully acknowledge that when I was a competitor, I was a massive cunt. Like you would not have liked me because I was like, if you're not a winner, you're a loser. You know what I mean? Like
that's the wrestling mentality. That's how we grew up.
That was how I was. However, I acknowledge that I could not have been more wrong. And what I've realized from coaching high school wrestling is that you're going to get everybody that steps on that mat has their own goals, and it's okay. Some kids will come in from Little League and they want to be state champions. They want to wrestle for, a Big Ten university. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some kids want to come out and just lose some weight. Yes. And they want to do it through wrestling because they may have watched like UFC on the TV. Some kids want to do it just to be a part of something. Maybe they don't have any friends.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And now it's my job to facilitate all of that. And I'll say this. When you were talking about the mental, I am human, so like I want to make sure that I make this known. Like I do love winning, even as a coach.
Yes.
And the end goal is to win because I do believe that to create I don't think anybody should not be a sore loser. I think everybody losing anything, like losing a promotion, losing a match, losing whatever, should suck. And you should always have those 100%. Negative connotations with it.
I hate everybody gets a trophy.
I'm okay with everybody gets a trophy, but then you know what? What though? Make it a different color. Call it the participation trophy. You want to know what these kids are doing now? They won't accept it because deep down they know. So I'm okay with all this other stupid, we'll probably agree with this. I'm okay with it because at the end of the day, the kids know themselves and they'll acknowledge the difference. They'll spit about how it's stupid. But here's the thing though. At the same time though, going back to what I was saying about like the kid who just wants to be a part of something, it does have value to him or her. So it's like for the kids where that's valueless.
I can see that. I
doesn't matter anyway.
I get.
But for the kid that goes 0-15 in the season to get something with his friends at the end of the year, even though he might not understand, like I would have more pride in that kid because if you go into wrestling and you win 15 matches in a row, it's easy to love wrestling. It's easy to come in to practice the next day when you have a series of successes. This kid went 0-15 and finished the season. That's the real MVP. That's the real MVP.
I had that epiphany recently. There was a guy at my former high school, Beverly's High School, and I sat back and I remember, man, he wrestled from freshman year to senior year, wrestled JV, and we whooped his tail in practice. And I thought, man, he never quit. And it got me just reflecting on that because I mean we're all pretty good. A lot of us wrestled together from freshman year to senior year, and we were pretty outstanding by my senior year. But I sit back, and I mean I wasn't a dick to people, but I thought like that's pretty impressive that he did not quit.
No,
because there's guys they'll quit during the first week. Our coach made it tough.
Some guys that have more success will then just have a bad match and be like, oh, I don't want to do this, and let ego take control.
Yes,
it's tough, man. So like. That kid might not understand the accomplishment that he did, and it doesn't seem like an accomplishment by society standards. And I acknowledge that like this is like a very oxymoronic thing for me to say, but participating deserves an award.
It does.
However,
I just think
if
that
you're a
you
winner,
should get the
it's not the
same
award
size.
you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you say it shouldn't be the same size, like, can you extrapolate? Forgive me. Like, what do you mean?
So,
Because by the way, I'm going to sound like a super like hippie here for a second, but like maybe I got softer from coaching kids, but like I do think that like not everybody's going to be a state champion. Not everybody's
Yes.
going to go to qualify for state. And some guys might not even end the season, but I think maybe you'll agree with me, maybe you won't. It really doesn't matter because the vehicle was sports to make people better.
yes.
Wrestling was just the vehicle to get these kids better discipline, better work ethic, more comfortable being uncomfortable, whether in a physical or a mental situation. So like whether they win state or whether they even qualify or whether they even have a real match, they might just participate in practice.
I mean,
I hate to
and
say it. I'm cool with it all now.
honestly, but
But
my
5 years ago, Anthony.
my former high school coach, he had guys do exhibition matches. Even at the middle school, because actually my high school coach, he's the one that talked me into doing a middle school wrestling. And so he would even have them, the other team, he'd have our own members, our own students go against each other in the matches to give them experience of, you got the crowd over here, we want you to like walk out, shake hands, and have a match. So I understand that part. I would say being a little bit older, remember the top 3 received a trophy or a ribbon. And the ribbon had first, second, or third, and then the other ribbons might have had like consolation. So I've just seen it where people that got in last place, their trophies were pretty big. So I don't mind them receiving something. It's just the first place trophy should be pretty big.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on this one. Yeah. They're not all created equal. I agree with you.
That's my point. Other than that, I think everyone should receive some type of
Give them a participation award, but first place is gold, baby.
Exactly.
And everybody should
like
notice
first,
that.
second, third should be gold.
I agree.
That
I
should
agree.
be. Because I feel like losing should help drive you. Well, at least I can only speak for me. Losing drove me. I didn't wrestle freshman year in high school. Freshman year, I'm getting beat up by guys that had wrestled when they were younger. And I want to fight. Like, I just hated somebody pinning me or holding me down. But then I transformed that into just, in my mindset, was like, I just hate losing. I'm going to keep training and training and training. And my high school coach, his brother coached used to be Belleville Area College, and I was SWIC. They used to have a wrestling team up there. And so in the spring and summer, we did our freestyle training up there. So I probably received a whole season or two just from the spring and summer tournaments. And you had Dave Mercatani on your show. His dad used to be the coach at Merrimack, and they had a spring tournament every single year, a couple times during the spring. And I remember going there and seeing his dad and actually seeing him. And that's where I felt like I started catching up to guys and then passing them. But it was my own hate for losing.
As a competitor.
As a competitor, yes. As a competitor, yes. Damn. So, and I mean, that's just driven me since I was younger. That's just the way it is. But I would say, going back to jiu-jitsu, I want to win, but it doesn't matter to me as much as when I wrestle or maybe years past. Now I'm happy to just be competing, but my end goal is still to win.
So let me ask this, though, because what we've expressed so far has been strictly internal, right? How we feel about competition or winning a match or losing a match. I hate to ask this, but the perception of others is also important. And I feel like martial arts is weird because it's like jiu-jitsu specifically, because it's low impact. Okay, I want to be careful how I say this because it's not low impact. It's not boxing. I'm not hitting you in the face.
Yes.
So because of that, you can compete longer. You see a lot of 60-year-olds, 50-year-olds in jiu-jitsu the way you don't see in boxing, right? Now, the problem with that, though, is, I hate to say it this way, dude. I'm 33. I don't move like I was 23. I'm sure at 43, I won't move the way I move now, right? So, like, for instance, you can go out and compete. Now you're coaching classes. Now you're representing more than just yourself. You're coaching people. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say you're a brand, but your black belt carries more weight than just you now. So while you might feel internally about competition, which way or whatever, the problem is also the perception of other people. And I hate to say it, but this is the truth. If someone goes out there and wins every match, they're perceived as good. Whether they're a good coach These are completely different things, right? Like to be a good competitor, to be a good trainer. Or
Yes.
I've seen some guys that have never done it be phenomenal trainers. And I've seen state champions can't coach wrestling. It's wild. It's been wild to see. But for my question for you is, do you feel an extra sense of burden, responsibility, or pressure competing as a black belt, coaching classes? Do you feel like the burden of perception is put upon you? Can you just compete now? Or does every loss or win affect you?
I don't feel the pressure because to me, it makes me human. They may look at me as this fantastic jiu-jitsu guy, and if I go off there and lose, I lost. Now I can go back to my students and say, hey man, you guys watch me lose. It's okay. The sun still shines the next day. And I would say I carry myself a certain way. So I may not see what everybody else see when they see me because I feel like I said, I'm just me. But my goal still is to help other people out when it comes to training. So I think I can separate the two. To answer your question, I feel like my perception is Anthony's a good coach. He's a good wrestling coach. When I need advice, he can give me advice on the mats or off the mats. And that's kind of how I carry myself. And then as far as with me competing, I'm going to be able to help you with the mental game. If you're nervous, why are you nervous? Take a deep breath, do some visualization. Let's work on what are you good at? Let's work on that. Let's train that. Okay, if the guy beat you a certain way, then now we're going to find out where your holes are and then improve that. So depending on how people see me, I mean, I don't know. I know I'm respected throughout the local community, and I have friends up in Chicago and other areas, so I know like how I'm perceived.
Adam Sella had nothing but nice things to say about you. This is completely anecdotal. It was a conversation him and I had. Just one piece of nuance in all of this is like I was asking Adam, I'm like, hey, I was thinking about having Anthony on the podcast. He's like, you should. And he was just kind of listing off a lot of good things about you. Not asked, didn't have to do that. The interactions you've had with Adam made him feel like he should say these things. So to me, at this point in my life, network is everything. And what people say behind closed doors, as I'm doing a podcast, but what people say behind closed doors matters.
It matters. Yes, it does.
So I just want to say the way you do conduct yourself, the way you do present yourself, it works.
Yeah. And my thing is, I just lost at CSBJJ.
Yeah, but the Colin Parr, I mean, he's not a fucking slouch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether you're a black belt, you're fighting other fucking black belts.
For sure. And
it's a different story.
And that was a great match. It was a great 7-minute match. And I will say, I thought he was about 40 years old. I know he was as young as he was, but
I think he's like my age. He's like 33, isn't he? 34?
34.
Yeah, 34. Okay, so my age, I'm 33.
I still would have took the match, though. It didn't matter. I still had fun.
It was a good match. You guys were very competitive. Yeah.
Fantastic match. Yeah. And so for me, it's having fun. And like I said, it makes me more human that I can take a loss and I can go back and tell them I'm okay. And I can continuously push them to get better and improve.
Do you think there's a point in time where you will have to inevitably hang up the gloves of competition? Or do you think that you could possibly do that up until, health gives out?
I'll train jiu-jitsu until I can't anymore. As far as competing, probably not.
Yeah.
There'll come a day. There may come a day. And I will say this. Everyone knows within my circle, and I'm throwing it out in the air. My goal is to win Masters Worlds in September. The podium doesn't matter. I want to win. It's either win or bust. That's the way I see it. After I win it this year, I could retire. Man, I was a Masters World champ. Yeah.
This is so wild because this whole thing we're talking about, like how competition is fun and how it makes you feel alive and how it's like a North Star for driving you. And yet you're telling me that if you achieve this accomplishment, you could walk away from it.
The competitive part, yes.
Interesting.
Because there's going to be...
What if you lose, though? Okay, so forgive me for saying this. Not that I have doubts in you, but if you lose, what does that mean? That you're going to try again and until you succeed? Like,
for sure.
So this is wild for me. So the question I want to ask is...
I just want to be set where that's my goal is to win it.
Okay, and then
Last
if you
year, I
win
was-
it, you're done. That's what's wild to me. Not
could
the
see
goal.
it. I could see
What's
it.
wild to me is like, I did it. Okay, I'm done. Do you really think that's it? You don't think you're going to have another goal after that? Win it a second time? Defend it?
It wouldn't be winning a second time.
No.
It would have to be something like the no-gi Europeans and go to the Coliseum.
So there could
Or
be possibly
maybe
something else.
A match in Brazil. It would have to take something like that for me to have that strong drive to do. But one, I wanted to set the goal. Like, that's my goal. This is the end game, is Masters Worlds, be on the podium in first place. After that, no, if Adam says, hey, man, I have a match for you, I would do that. But as far as to train to do a bunch of matches back to back to back, it takes some training, because last year my bracket was 52 guys.
God damn. I'm sorry.
And so
Jesus.
I anticipate it'll probably be about 60 this year, because it seems like it gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
How does it work in jiu-jitsu? Double elimination, the same way it works
Single,
in wrestling?
man.
Single elimination?
It's single.
Shows you how much I know. Wow.
Yes. For IBJJF, it's single elimination. Other tournaments, you have like your kind of...
And how many people place? 4? Top 4, right?
Top 3.
Top 3. Okay.
What happens is there's no wrestle off for true third place. So whoever loses in the semifinals, they both go to third place.
Okay, so it's like 2 third places. Gotcha.
Yes.
Interesting.
That's why you'll see 4 guys on the podium.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I thought. I was like, interesting.
Yes.
Why are they sharing the podium? They must be really close.
Yeah, it's like we need to wrestle
You
off,
guys can
man.
hold hands
But
now.
that's it.
Do you think that not that you are done, but do you think that when you are done, coaching will fill that void of competition? Are you interested in coaching
100%.
after you're
Then
done competing?
I would be very content on helping coach.
For the remainder of that time.
Yes.
Have you ever, forgive me for asking this, but it's like my natural mindset is, have you ever thought about opening your own school, about doing it yourself?
No, I'm joking. Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is entrepreneurship something you're interested in? Not that I by the way, I don't know if you have any other businesses like this, you know what I mean?
No, pretty much just work and kids. And I'll just kind of throw it out there. I can retire. I hit my 20 years next December of 2027, and I can retire.
God bless.
With being a federal job, mandatory, I have to retire at 57. So I can go in 5 years, or I can go in 18 months. And I thought about, once I finish, if I retired from my current job, maybe open up a school. But I've kind of had that drive more to maybe open up my own school.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a thought. It's a thought. It's more than a thought. I'll say that.
What are at a high level, not like I'm not asking for any sort of nuance, but like, what are some of the reservations and what are some of the excitements when you think about possibly opening up your own school?
It is really location right now.
Yeah.
That's really the main thing, is location. I need to find like a good location.
In terms of what? Like not near other gyms,
Yes.
not super competitive, not trying to I want to be careful how I
Just
say
make sure
this.
it's not oversaturated.
Yeah,
Where?
okay.
Because I feel like wherever I go, I'm going to draw people.
Attention.
Huh?
Attention.
Attention, but I just feel like I know how to deal with children. In my old job, my first job, I was a juvenile probation officer. So I've dealt with juveniles. That's where I started off at. I've always had love for kids, help out kids. I understand enough that if I want to have a women's class, get the right women to help run the class. And because there's different body styles, we use a lot more strength than women do, and they're very technical, and get the right woman or two to run the class. The adult class, depending on where, I know I have somebody that can run like in a 5 a.m. class, 6 a.m. class. If I want to implement wrestling, I have the wrestling in there. So my thought is already kind of laid out how I can run the program, and I have friends that I know will help. I mean, they'll be incorporated in the business for sure.
Yeah, the finances, the actual execution.
The execution for sure. Finances, I'm sure I have a couple of guys that I've mentioned as far as the financial aspect of it. I have the right people that I know that'd be some fantastic coaches.
God bless.
For sure, man. I gotta shout my friend out, Ryan. He moved here probably about 2 years ago from the Air Force. He was in the Air Force. He moved from Hawaii here, and he just helped my jujitsu grow so much, man. I've been around him probably about a good year. Because when he first moved here, I didn't really see him much. But over the past year to 15 months, man, just helping out my game. And it's lovely. I have like other people like help me out, but he specifically has helped out my game.
Is he high
so
level
much.
as well?
He's he's another black belt.
You said he's helping you out with your games.
Yes. And being in the Air Force, he's been in different places. He trained under Famiga, Rafael Barbosa.
So he's traveled the world training jiu-jitsu.
Yes. And I mean, he came from like that background. He was in Hawaii for a while, and he just was able to absorb different styles. Some gyms may focus on like deep half. Some may work on like spider guard or some type of hybrid. And he's been at gyms where he works on lapel guard. He's added that to my game. That's something like I hadn't really worked on. But he just knows, he did some coaching as well, I think in Hawaii. He's been able to like give me just little pointers, man. And it's not necessarily like, hey man, keep focusing on your wrestling is good. How about you add this to it? Or this is your guard passing. How about you add this piece to it? And it's been like the perfect storm.
God bless.
Yes.
Shout out Ryan.
Yeah. And everybody else, but Ryan specifically has helped me.
Shout out everybody.
Yes.
Especially Ryan. For me, one of the things I've seen some of my friends do from MMA is like Jordan Dowdy just opened Legacy BJJ in MMA.
Yes.
And I remember when Jordan was at CMAA with me back when I was like 19 years old. And to see him now go from someone who, if you would have known Jordan like 10 years ago, I'm sorry, Jordan, for saying this, you would never have thought that he would be like a business owner. You know what I mean? And to see martial arts change him, his mentality, his work ethic, his discipline, all these other things, to the point where he felt comfortable enough to take on the risk of starting his own gym. And more importantly, I saw a grown man take advice from people younger than him. Like that was what impressed me the most about his ability to open up his own gym. He was genuinely willing to listen to people that were younger than him, or maybe they didn't understand jiu-jitsu, but they understood business.
Yes.
And he took it in like a sponge. Jordan is an example, but he's not the only one that I have. One of the things that I deeply appreciate, because I'm going to ask you a couple of hard questions about jiu-jitsu, but I do want to start with this. One of the things I do deeply appreciate about jiu-jitsu is it is a genuine skill set that someone can use to create economic prosperity for themselves and their family.
Correct.
And
Yes.
I think that's truly beautiful. So my question for you on that aspect is, when you sought out to study martial arts and to possibly help with the safety of law enforcement, or to even pursue your own personal goals in competition, or to propel yourself in martial arts, did you ever think that you'd be in a position to even think about opening up your own business?
No.
God bless. Seriously, dude. God bless. I hope you execute. At some point in time in the future, I hope you execute.
I just feel like, man, I've been blessed to always land on my feet. It's just a matter of me like just stepping out. You know, my last name was Byrd, so I need to just go on the edge and just jump out, man, and just fly. That's kind of it.
I'm not pressuring you. All I'm saying is when that day comes, I'll be rooting for your success.
Appreciate it.
So now, if you don't mind, I do have a couple tough questions.
Okay.
And I know that you're not a representative of jiu-jitsu as the whole, but what I'm asking more is your opinion on some matters. So you said that you were about to go to Masters Worlds, and that's where you wanted to compete. When I had Josh McKinney on, he opened my eye. I didn't realize this. He opened my eyes, and actually, CXP. I want to be careful how I say this. Actually, holy shit! I'm gonna take a step back. All right. So up until I started competing in jiu-jitsu like 3 weeks ago, every single one of my competitive avenues were like highly regulated. Wrestling in high school, you had to do hydration tests. There would be random drug tests even in high school back in the day. I don't know if they still do them, actually, to be honest with you. No? Not anymore? Well, maybe you weren't good enough.
I know they monitor weight cutting.
They monitor weight cutting, but also, like, at state, if they thought you were...
Juicing.
Yeah, they would... What? Yeah. They'd have you piss in a cup. True story. Anyway, thanks, Misha. I never failed. Anyway, MMA was even more of that, to be honest with you. Now, it's not as, like... strenuous as like the UFC with USADA or whatever they have now. But jiu-jitsu, and I hate to say it this way, seems like the fucking wild, wild west, to the point where it is openly understood that a lot of people are under the effects of performance-enhancing drugs. Now, this can be as mild as I'm a 45-year-old guy on TRT. So, like, it's not even that he's looking for a competitive advantage. He's just trying to get back to the same levels that he
And just maintain.
Yeah, so, like,
I've all heard that, yeah.
I want to be careful how I navigate this question, because I will fully acknowledge that at this age, even at 33, I know guys at my age that are on TRT and competing in jiu-jitsu. So I'm not bad-mouthing that in any way. I get it.
I think once you understand that part, and you understand that some people use this for maintenance to kind of help them out with recovery and just to feel better.
Yeah, I mean,
then you're like, okay, that's
especially if you suffer from low T. Like if you're suffering from, like if you're at like 500-600 levels and you're trying to get to like 1400, I have a problem. But if you were at like 2 or 3 and it's a quality of life increase, who am I to say anything?
Agreed.
So I want to make sure that I kind of leave that subsection out here. I am not talking about that. What I am talking about is it's prolific that there is a lot of performance enhancing drugs in jiu-jitsu. I am not keen at your level, at Masters Worlds. Is this common? Are you competing against individuals that you believe are under the effects of these drugs?
I can't say that I competed against somebody that I knew was actively using, but I've seen other guys, when they take their gis off, you can see like bumps on their backs and things like that.
You're just like, bruh.
You can tell you're on the juice.
What is that? How do you feel? Like, do you feel anything about that? What are your thoughts on it as from the sports perspective?
It's unfair. It's an advantage.
Yeah.
It's clearly an advantage. So there may have been one guy who was probably on more than just TRT because he was just too ripped up and strong and felt extremely strong.
Double TRT.
Yeah. So that was a tough match. But I think it's unfair. And I see it more with the younger people, and I think, man, why? Why are you using it?
Competition. Because they want to fucking win, dude.
And
I get the why. I do get the why. What I don't understand is the how. Like, how is this acceptable? That's what I don't understand.
I think it's hard to regulate.
Is it? When you talk about a guy takes off his gi and he's got bumps on his back, is it? You feel me?
Yes. So maybe IBJJF can do it.
Like just
I think
eye test, the local ones least.
Is going to be probably tougher to do. But I think IBJJF makes enough money that they could do it.
Well, let me ask you this, a more broader question. Should they? I hate to say it this way, like, you're not getting hit in the head. So, like, in sports like football or boxing or whatever, or MMA, the reason why I'm so against performance-enhancing drugs is because at the end of the day, you're hitting me in my head. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You're causing irreversible damage to my brain. In grappling, if let's say you're on some stuff for like an EPO for like recovery, or if you're on something for like, you know, some sort of cardiovascular increase to get through a 10-minute match or whatever, at the end of the day, you're not necessarily hitting me. You're not causing like cranial damage. Is it not okay? Like the argument could be made.
It's still not okay. Because if you have the energy to keep going like that, it's still unfair.
Agreed.
The strength thing for sure. I mean, because if I'm on the juice and I hit a double leg on somebody, I'm going to pick them up and drop them. Whether it's a gi or no gi, especially no gi.
I didn't think about that. You're right. I mean, at the end of the day, wrestling is wrestling, and you can't drop people on their head, their neck, yada, yada.
For sure. In jiu-jitsu, they kind of watch how you take somebody down. But if I hit a regular double leg and no gi and kind of just run the pipe a little bit, I can get you off your feet and
hit you on the head, yeah.
Yeah, and hit you.
So then we've acknowledged that you don't perceive it to be an issue at your level, but that you do also acknowledge that this seems to be more prevalent at the younger level, which would fall more in line with what Josh McKinney said.
Yes, I would think more guys my age, they're probably on some type of maintenance TRT. I've heard more, generally speaking, about guys in like the Masters 4, Masters 5, they may be on something like that. But as far as just straight on the juice, I don't know. Like I said, around my weight class. But I think as you move up in Masters, we all work.
Yeah.
We're not trying to be
Might have
world
kids.
champs. Yeah. So I think it's more prevalent through the 18, 29-year-old because they're still hungry. They're still trying to open their gym. They want their name out there. Man, I'm 35 years old. I'm training. I win Masters of the World. I got to work the next day.
It's a different story.
So I think that's where the change has happened for me. Because I didn't start just until 34. And I know when I compete through my 40s up to 50, if I get like a Kimura lock, I'm not yanking on. Like I'm going to clear it. I'm going to like almost slow down until somebody taps. And I think we all know that this person works or they have a family. And I'm not trying to take anybody arm home or their leg home.
That's okay. That's interesting that you say that because I felt the same thing when I competed at CXBJJ. When I used to fight, I was like, dude, it's you or me. But when I was competing in BJJ, I thought the same thing. I was like, at the end of the day, first of all, his wife is in the crowd. My daughter's in the crowd.
It's different.
I can tell you right now, Anthony, I am a softer individual than I used to be. I don't necessarily say that with like malice or regret. I like what I'm becoming.
Yeah.
But 100% it's an acknowledgement that I've noticed. Like I'm a lot more
soft.
Yeah, like I just think more about the other guy than I ever used to, you know, but
Yeah.
I also like, that's actually why I'm thinking about going in and training in jiu-jitsu now, like exclusively, in terms of like gi jiu-jitsu to finally start progressing in the belting system. Because I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for 15 years.
It's fun, man.
Well, I also, CXBJJ showed me that this can be like, for the first time in my life, I can compete without malice. Like, I'm not trying to hurt you, dude. I'm just trying to win.
Correct.
And if I can win without hurting you, even better. If I have to hurt you to win, at least at this age, I'll still do it. Maybe in like 10 years, I won't do it. But like at this age, like, hey, if you don't tap, man, it's on you. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
There is a beauty to jiu-jitsu that it allows a 33-year-old Arion who did not think he was going to compete again to compete.
Yes.
So I do want to give the roses where they're deserved. But there seems to be also that ugly face of competition where it's highly competitive, ultra competitive,
100%.
where people are willing to do if and or but to get that gold. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good or a bad thing.
When I wrestle, I want to mentally break somebody. I want to watch the film and know it's at that moment I broke his spirit. If I would have competed in just in my early 20s, I probably would have had the same I would have had the same mentality. Because when you grow up with, you know, you want to win and that's the end goal. And like I said, second place was the first loser. That was on T-shirts and everything for a long time. So if I would have did it between 20 and 25, I would have went extremely
Balls to
hard.
the walls.
Oh, for sure, yes.
So you think you maybe benefited from the fact that you started a little later?
Yes.
God bless.
And I would have did MMA if I was a lot younger too.
You think so?
I definitely would have.
Because when you say you trained with like Andrew Sanchez, I'm like Andrew was like coming up through LFA at the time, or maybe this was back with like the Jim Jenkins days. But Andrew was training for MMA, so like I just didn't know if like maybe you got the itch because you were around those guys.
By that time, nah. Because okay, so what happens with growth is I knew if I did a fight, if I lost, I'd fight again. Unless I had some classic knockout. If I won, I probably would have fought again. So I knew, man, don't even do it. Don't jump into the ring because I know myself. I know my drive.
Dude, I think you hit the nail on the head. I was 19 years old. I went in for jiu-jitsu, and then I was around all these fighters. I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I'm 33 years old now, and I'm like, dude, it's been 3 years since I've been punched in the face. And I'm telling you guys what.
You don't miss that.
I don't miss that at all. Sometimes, like, I'll go to fights, like, do you miss it? I go, no. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. If I would have started training like jiu-jitsu, if I would have walked into a jiu-jitsu gym today at 33, no fucking shot I'm fighting. No shot. I'm not even feeling the itch. I'm like, no, you guys are wild. I'll go work my arm bar.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it's youth. I think it's youth and like not stupidity, because I don't want to say I was stupid. And by the way, I'm very glad that I fought. It taught me a lot of things about myself. You know what I mean? So I'm not bad mouthing anything. I'm just simply stating my observations. I think it was a combination of youth, inexperience, and testosterone.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm glad I did it. I'm here talking to you today because of it. So
I would say if it wasn't for Muhammad Ali, like having Parkinson's and stuff like that, I would have probably wanted to at least do some boxing too. Because I love watching boxing.
Okay, to that point though, maybe because Muhammad Ali showing his Parkinson's is probably why you didn't do it and maybe protected you. Yes. I hate to say it this way, but like
100%, yes.
It was in the back of all of our heads when we were doing MMA. It was. I'm telling you right now, we're all like, there's a time and a place. And I remember my last fight was a loss, and a lot of people were telling me like, don't you want to get one more in there to end on a win? And I go, why?
Yep.
I'm 16-2. I'm good.
Very good. Yes.
I'm fucking good. If I was like 2-16, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
I know. Yeah,
maybe. And on the dub, maybe. But what I'm trying to say was like, that's how I knew I was done. Because I didn't have the get back. I lost and I was like, well, all right.
Oh, I had that get back in me 100%.
Still?
Not now, but back then I
dude, that's how I knew I was done. That's how I knew I was done. Because I had lost before. I had lost like a close split decision. And the next day I was in the gym. That was a Saturday. I was in there for Sunday Fun Day sparring. I was like, that's never fucking happening. Get it back. I was like, that's never happening again. And then when it did happen again, like 5 years down the line, I was like, okay. And I was like, that's not good.
Yes.
That's not good. Why am I saying okay? Like I was saying earlier, like we should all be kind of sore losers. I was not a sore loser. I was like, well, I was a better man and he was better than me and he was...
Yeah, that comes with growth, man. It comes with time.
I guess, but dude, it's dangerous for competition. You got to be a little bit of a sore loser.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Because that still drives me losing. Okay, so let me backtrack too. So this year I have won in IBJJF. I won double gold or gold in the other tournaments, and I lost first round at the Pans. One of the rare times I've been one and done. First round I lose, and that will drive me until September.
No shit.
Oh yes. I don't need my get back against him. But that just doesn't sit well with me, man. I just gotta get.
That can't be the way it ends.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
Tony, can I ask you a favor? Yes, sir. Do you mind grabbing the bottle of Red Weller on the bottom floor, or the bottom shelf? Sorry, sir.
Oh, no problem.
One of the Red Weller. That's green. Sorry, it's to the left. To the left? Nope. It says Weller.
Is that pretty good?
Do you want some?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Please. It's so Weller makes. Let's do it neat first, and then if he wants it ice, we'll add it to it. So here, you can just hand it to me, brother. I got mine. So, do you like whiskey?
At different times.
So I'll say this about Red Weller. Weller's amazing, very good whiskey, but Red Weller specifically is like robust in flavor. Like it's not a mild whiskey. It's not spicy and burns, but it's floral. It's flavorful. So you let me know if that's your cup of tea. Don't feel obligated.
Yeah, not too bad.
Antique 107 is fucking phenomenal. This is a great one. So that's another thing too, is I've changed in my life. Like, I'll tell you what, when I was 22, 23, I never drank. I would go to parties and I'd always be the DD because, like, for me, it was all about fighting in school. So when I went to UMSL, I studied finance and accounting. And when I wasn't training, I was at school. If I wasn't at school, I was at work. So, like, my entire 20s, Anthony, I didn't really have a whole lot of fun. But that was, like, what I want. Like, I don't say that as a, the cost of the burden I had. No, I liked it. Like you were saying, like you would rather go to the gym than go out to the bar with your friends. 100%. I was the same fucking way. I was like, dude, why would I go drink when I can go progress something? I can either go work and make money. Yeah. I can go to school and learn something and make classes easier and all these other things. Or I can go to the gym and get better at fighting. And that was awesome. The thing that I noticed was like those drives changed. I started getting being comfortable at the house started feeling good. It's nice to sit down. Sure. I don't really want to go to practice today. I'm kind of sore in ways that didn't really bite at me previously.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that like that is why I quit, because if I would have won my last fight, I probably would have kept fighting. But what I am saying is it was like a subconscious acknowledgement at how I was changing over the years. And to your point, when you were saying about like, 19, 20-year-olds when they don't have any responsibilities and stuff like that, it was different competing when I was single. But then I got a wife and I got a kid and started eating at time, and you start feeling a little bit more selfish to train, 3-4 hours a day for a fight 12 weeks from now,
Yep.
Martial arts is simultaneously, I don't know if you'll agree with me, it is some of the best things I've ever done in my life. But sometimes I do look back and I think to myself, like, what was the opportunity cost of that? What could I have done if I wasn't doing martial arts? Like, could I have been better at business? Could I have climbed the corporate ladder better? Would I have met my wife earlier? Like, sometimes I do think about these things. Now, I will say this. I acknowledge that I'm glad everything happened the way it happened. But I am interested in asking you this question. What kind of person do you think you'd be today if you never got introduced to jiu-jitsu?
Probably be a weightlifter with a fat belly, man. To tell you the truth. I would say I would probably play some kind of sport of some type because...
Like adult leagues?
Oh, yes. I would say after college, I did flag football in the fall. We played basketball during the wintertime, and then softball in the spring and summer. So I was kind of always doing something competitive. So I would probably have just maybe focus on one or two things because I got bored at a certain point just hitting weights. And right about the time I started doing jits is when CrossFit kind of blew up. And so I started doing little CrossFit workouts. But if I didn't do jits,
bro,
I honestly don't know. I do know. My goal before starting jits was I want to learn how to play the guitar.
Okay.
And for Christmas, I did get an acoustic guitar. And I was going to learn to do that, but then I started jiu-jitsu. So
you
maybe
learning how to break bones instead.
So, and I mean, believe it or not, I took piano lessons when I was younger, from 5 to 15. So I've always loved music. So I think I would have done something probably with music.
What if I were to expand that question more to like your mentality? Like how much has martial arts, jiu-jitsu, changed you, the individual? Do you think you'd be similar without jiu-jitsu today?
No, because I think there's a certain part of that get comfortable being uncomfortable that I've translated that into my life. That when things are kind of chaotic, take a breath. Just like jiu-jitsu, you're in a bad spot, how you stop a choke. You start thinking about what steps to take. So when things are chaotic, I think about, okay, how I'm going to line up the next step. And I'm kind of playing chess with my life. So I think that helped out. But I've always had a way of just kind of like just pausing and just thinking. And then actually talking to my dad too. My dad's like one of my good friends, man. So
was your father a CSB jiu-jitsu?
He sure was.
I am
that. I am one.
I was trying to get ready for my fight or my match, and I see Anthony like walking his dad, and I remember thinking like, oh, it's so fucking sweet. I'm like, okay, lock in, Ariane, lock in.
Yeah, and so people probably didn't know my dad. He did have on a Vietnam hat. My dad was hurt in Vietnam, and so he lost his right eye and then his left leg under. Yes, so he has a prosthetic leg, and so there's no handrails up there. So I wanted to make sure my dad didn't fall. So that was.
I just thought you were being like a good dude.
I think I'm a fantastic son.
Yeah.
I had a fantastic dad, and so my kids benefit because I had a fantastic dad. But I'm gonna take care of my dad. I'm gonna take care of my parents. Like I am blessed that I have my mom and dad. They're still alive. We took my dad out for Father's Day.
God bless. Truly.
I cherish every moment with my parents.
God bless.
And so you didn't meet my dad, but if you know me, you know my dad. He raised 3 boys, and he made us men. And that tough part of me comes from my dad.
Are you the youngest, oldest,
I'm the
middle?
youngest.
Oh, you're the baby.
Yep.
That means you also got softened by your mom.
I did get softened. I got softened by my mom.
I'm the baby too, so don't feel bad.
But my dad, so with my dad having a prosthetic leg, when I was younger, he would like walk in and take off his prosthetic leg, and I would see like the little blisters just from him walking. But my dad never complained. My dad went to work, took care of the family. My mom barely worked growing up. She worked at different times, but my dad was pretty much the breadwinner, and that was my example
Holding it
every
down.
single day. So I always land on my feet the way I feel, but because of him, I could do anything. I mean, my dad, like I said, he lost his eye. He's an artist, man. If you saw like some of his scars, you would kind of see like how they took the skin off his leg, on his arm, because he got blew up pretty doggone bad. And just watching my dad get up and just be the man he is, that's just, it's ingrained in me. So I had a certain drive, but watching my dad make no excuses.
I hate to ask this because I will preface it. I'm do not feel like you have to answer questions you don't want to ask or answer. But I do want to ask this because I'm genuinely curious myself. What are the conversations like with your father today compared to 10 years ago or 20 years ago? Do you talk more about life? Do you talk more about your children? Like, I'm interested in how your relationship has changed over the course of time.
Okay, I'll give you kind of the beginning. I was a mama's boy, I would say, until 19, came home on spring break, was like, Mom and Dad, I'm about to be a dad. That's when me and my dad clicked.
Yeah.
Because I was 20 when I had my first kid. I remember being in the dorms, man, talking to my friends, and I'm like, man, I'm about to be a dad. And they were all like, wow, we had no experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing they could say besides, damn, you're going to be a...
It was a different time.
You're going to be a dad. But talking to my dad, it helped out. So we've been pretty much in sync for a long time.
Do you mind if I ask what that means? Like, when you say talking to my dad, what were some of the things that your father said to you? Like, what made it feel more concrete and more stable?
Because we just had real life conversations. Being at that age, he was able to kind of walk me through, okay, this is what you might expect having a kid that young. Make sure you spend time with your kid. Make sure you help out with any financial stuff. But though watching the way my dad was with us, it helped me be a good father for my oldest daughter too. Because I have the perfect example. I have the roadmap. So I feel like I'm a good father because of him. But we just talked about me finishing school. I was in school. I took time off, and my dad was like, "Man, you can work on a job. It you might make good money right now, but 5-10 years down the line, it's not going to be the same." And so they were like, "Man, you need to just go back to school and finish." Yeah. And so I finished school. But then anytime I had any issue, personal, hey man, me and my ex-wife we're talking about this, and my dad would just give me advice. Honestly, it's probably whatever I was going through. If I was having, I would say, man, I worked at a job and I just wanted to go off on the supervisor. And my dad was like, there's a time and a place for it. And he just helped always kind of calm me down on what to say and how to say it pretty professional. Because when you're younger, you just say like, what do you feel? And then the man side of me is like, we can go outside. I don't want to get fired. So he always gave me
prison, dude. It's a different time.
Exactly. And so he just gave me advice on how to talk to people. And my dad's a pastor, so he may give me the scripture part of it, and he may just give me the part where don't say nothing now. Just hold back, confront them, because nothing wrong with confronting, but just watch your tone, watch how you say things. And that's pretty much how I conduct myself too. I think that's just things that are said is, like I said, because of the example I got from my dad. And then he told me like my last name is Byrd. So just kind of go back to a little bit of history is my family, the Byrd side came from a plantation, slave plantation. And so they got the last name Byrd from one of the owners, the masters, I want to say it. And the word it used to be B-I-R-D, but they changed it to B-Y-R-D to make it their own. And my dad always said, make the Byrd name proud. And I've carried that ever since. And whatever I do, even when I want to act a fool, even when I want to punch somebody in the face, it is you're representing your whole family. And so I've just kind of taken that really through my life.
First off, God bless. Truly. I when you said earlier that you're blessed to have both your parents still alive, you're absolutely correct.
100%, yeah.
And as I get older, I'm only 33 years old, so also give me some rope here. But as I get older, I start to realize, and maybe in time this will change, but at least as it is today, I start to realize like what matters and what doesn't. And
Yes.
I used to think of relationships that I've had with friends or significant others or my family members as important or not important at various times. But if there was any one thing that I would say that I was also blessed with, it's that I had two great parents and that we didn't always have what we needed, but what I was rich with, overwhelmingly wealthy of, was love.
Yes.
And I didn't realize
Yes,
how
yes.
important that was until later on in life. I also find that, I don't know about you, but there is an affinity that I have towards Stoicism, like the Marcus Aurelius, like meditations style of man. And when you're describing your father about the wisdom, about the reservation, about the control of the emotions, control of the ego, it just resonates Stoicism to me. And I don't know about you, but I know for myself that Stoic mantra has been something I've been chasing as a man. It's the man I want to be. Does that make sense? And I'm getting there. Like 10 years ago, I was farther than I am today, but I'm not there
Yes.
yet,
You'll get there.
And just I was even thinking about this like on my car ride over here today was let's just say that there was a meeting today where I probably could have handled it a little bit better. And it's a tough balancing act because you simultaneously want to show people that you're passionate about something and that you care about something, but you cannot allow your emotions to overwhelm reason. And I feel like
Yes.
that's the difficulty. It's like, how do I convey to you that this is important to me while simultaneously allowing you to understand that I am the man in the room? That is something I am still like working on learning. But when you're describing your father and how he was always there for you to kind of like, hey,
Yeah.
not today. Hey, some scripture. I love.
And
I
I
love to hear
learned
it.
that I am the man in the room. I don't have to yell it.
Yes.
And that's just the confidence that he helped instill in, I would say, me and my
True
brothers.
masculinity.
For sure.
My favorite quote is, "An alpha male does not have to scream. He's an alpha male."
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So I don't feel like I need to.
It's a difficult thing to learn, though.
And then being able to fight too,
It makes
kick
it
your butt too.
It makes it hard.
It makes it harder, but it helps because I know my value and I know my worth, and I don't have to brag about it. I have a hard time tooting my own horn, and
It's a good problem to have, sir.
but
It's a good problem to have.
it's just again how I was raised by my dad.
God bless.
So again, I know my worth. I know what I bring to the table. It's up to you to recognize it or not. And as you get older, I don't care if you do or you don't, because I know my worth.
I'm gonna do a bit of a pivot, if you don't mind.
Okay,
You
okay.
spoke earlier about how you used to work with juveniles.
Oh.
Do you mind if I ask a couple questions about that? Or
Yeah.
is that like
I can talk about that.
okay?
I can talk about
Forgive
that,
me.
yes.
And the reason I'm prefacing is, once again, you don't have to answer questions you don't want to. But the work with with juveniles, can you explain to me first how you got in that line of work? Was it a byproduct of law enforcement?
Well, my degree is in criminal justice, and so I did an internship at a probation department. And then when I was hired, I worked in the detention center for about 9 months, and I was promoted to a probation officer. Like everyone had to work in the detention center first. You had to work the shift work.
They made you do the rounds.
7-3, 3-11, or overnights, and yes, you had to do that. But then I was a juvenile PO for about 4.5 years, and that's kind of was, I would say, working in detention. You start picking up on what kids do, what they won't do, who's tough, who's not tough. But then the juvenile probation stuff was just the next progression. And I just enjoy working with kids.
What does that mean, the next progression, when you say that? Like from what? Understanding?
From working detention, then you're going to go, when I worked
Like
for that agency,
step up?
Well, no, for that particular agency.
Okay, forgive me.
You went into detention, and then you either went to adult probation or juvenile probation.
And you went to juvenile.
Yes.
What, if any, impact did that 4.5 years have on you?
You get to see the origin of how some kids' lives are. You see some really bad parenting, and you understand why the kid grew up the way they did. My best example was, and as a PO, you saw the kid maybe once a month or twice a month. So you're just like talking to him and engage. And there was one kid, he had a drug issue. When he wasn't on crack, he was a smart individual. So one day, me and him were talking. He's like, yeah, man, my uncle was telling me about the 3 Fs. And I was like, what's the 3 Fs? He's talking about women. He goes, you find them, you fuck them, you forget about them. And I'm like, what if that was your mom? What if that was your sister? So then you can see like the mind start change. Like, I get what you're saying. So I just enjoy that part of it, talking to kids, and then
What, challenging them?
trying to, yes.
Like not challenging them physically, but mentally. Like,
Yes.
hey, your thought process is A. Have you ever thought of B?
Yes, for sure.
What made you enjoy this? Out of curiosity, did you want to spark something in them? Did you feel a tie to them?
I just wanted better for them because some of them, they don't know it. You don't know what you don't know. Growing up in, I guess, like more of a different kind of atmosphere. And also, I had both parents. Some kids, they didn't have a dad around, or dad was around but was present, but he wasn't present. Mom could be present, not present. She could be doing drugs. Kids are raised by their grandparents, and they're out kind of running the streets. Because when you're 50, 60-year-old, you want to run around with 15-year-old, 14-year-old. So it's just getting to talk to them about, okay, man, these are conditions of release. This is what you can and cannot do. But you're still in school. So let's try to like build your future on what you want to do. And it was kind of good and bad because back when I was juvenile PO, Darius Miles went from East Side to the pros. Every juvenile wanted to be on a basketball player. You're not even on the basketball team at your school. So how can you be in the NBA?
Player, yeah.
And then every kid wanted to be a rapper or some entertainer. Like, man, you're not in school. You really can't read or write. How are you going to be a rapper? Now it's, okay, so you may not go to college, but you can be a barber. You can, and I would say just get into a trade. Just do some type of trade. So it was just me trying to influence them and give them avenues. And then during that time, me and a couple of guys started like a mentor program called the Difference Makers. And so we're helping at-risk kids because we knew once you got in the system, you're kind of stuck. So I'll go try to catch them before they got into the system. So really we're just meeting them where they were and trying to, even if it's like to just get a job or stay in school, not get in trouble, not fight at school, and just give them some wisdom that they can carry on. Because back when we were growing up, we got into a fight. You told your boy, man, if I'm getting beat up, break it up. That was kind of our thing.
It's a different story now.
You get into a fight, his buddy comes over and sucker punches you.
No,
his other buddy jumps
now people
in.
have guns, dude.
Yeah,
now
but
now kids have guns.
For sure. But during that time, though, it was more people getting charged with like mob action because they were jumping in.
Yeah, forget
But then like leading on, then it's guns. Because nobody can fight. It's a gun or a knife.
The problem is also the degradation of the value of life. It's a combination of insecurity from your inability to physically defend yourself, similar to law enforcement, in a weird way.
Yes.
It's like you are on these streets and you have to be tough. You can't let anybody get one on you, but you don't have the skill set physically to uphold this. So what are you referring to? The only tool that will allow you. And unfortunately, the only tool that will allow you will inevitably take a life, and also at least two, because it will take their life and then your life through the system.
Yes.
I hate to say it that way, but it's you know, when I hear older people, I have a gentleman who he's maybe like 60 years old. He's like a friend of mine, you know what I mean? And he'll talk to me, and it opens my mind to how someone can both be correct and incorrect at the same time. Where he is correct is like his summation of how things have changed. He is accurate as like, this is how it was. It's not the same. But where he is incorrect is why. You know what I mean? Like the circumstances that have led to that. It's interesting to talk to older people in that sense because they have half the story. And I feel like the younger people have the other half of the story.
Yes,
where they might not necessarily understand the history of like how it got here, but they do know how it is. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's just kind of fascinating for you to say that. I don't have work in that sense. So in a lot of ways, man, thank you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I've been in houses back then that I probably would have sold drugs too. I got to feed the family.
Dude,
I have to do something.
I do not blame children. I blame exclusively parents. Like when I mean that is like when you have a 13-year-old who's doing things, like obviously they have their own agency. They are at fault for whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, they had to make the decision. However, we have to also acknowledge like when I was 13, dude, we were broke, but I never had to worry about like someone getting one on me or like someone taking something from me or like my reputation on whether or not I was, you know, hard. It was just a different world. So it's like
it was, and I'm a little bit older, and it was just really, it was making fun of each other. We call it joning, people call it playing the dozens, but that's where you got your toughness from for the most part. You'd have to fight. You'd have to make sure you can tell jokes and get people off of you. And
you can take it and you can give it.
Yes, and that's just. And I was trying to tell my son, like, that's what we did. I said, if you came to school like this, looking sharp, somebody still may make fun of you.
They're going to bag on you.
You in your church clothes, you know? Yeah. And so you just got used to being made fun of. And my son would be like, oh, that's kind of bullying. No, that's just how we grew up. It's just fun, and it's fun banter.
Well, he could be right. It might be a little bit bullying, but is that so bad? I've thought about this.
There's a part of me that's like old school that I have to step back and say, yeah, that was probably bullying.
Yeah, but is that so bad? So to bring it into sports, in sports, we acknowledge that we are presenting ourselves like physical altercations. But what is bullying if not emotional altercations? And in the same way that like wrestling can get you comfortable with discipline, work ethic, being uncomfortable, so can a mild amount of criticism, bullying. Oh, look at you with your socks or whatever. You might get hurt the first time, and the second time you're like, all right, man, yeah, but I have nice socks though, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you kind of start to develop that robustness, that thick skin. I think that we have lost as a society that I want to be careful how I say this. Sorry. We can acknowledge that certain things can go over the top while simultaneously realizing the value of a little bit of friction.
Yes.
Like I'm not saying, because it's a different world now. Back in the day when I got bullied, I'm sure it's the same for you. Like we didn't have Facebook and stuff like that. So like if I got bullied at school. By the time I went home, I was playing with my friends, whatever. You know what I mean? I was getting bullied.
Yeah, nobody cared. Yes.
Now it's a little different with like social media. You can get bullied 24/7. So like I want to acknowledge that it's a different world.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And all these other things. Yep. However, I will also acknowledge that like, yo, man, give a little bit, take a little bit.
Give it back, yes.
Yeah, like learn a little bit.
To me, it gives you a little more toughness.
Yeah.
Because I can remember my oldest brother, shout out to Landis, made fun of me, and I remember like crying as a kid.
Just ripping.
Because he tells great stories. He's a funny guy.
Great stories about you.
Just in general. But yes, he's gonna make fun of us. But I got my toughness that the next time, like, I'm not gonna cry. I'm gonna just come back at him. And I might have had as funny jokes as he did, but I didn't cry. I had a couple of givebacks for him. But it just built a little bit of toughness too. And I think it's okay, a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Because it's like simultaneously, I have a daughter who's only 3 years old, but I don't want her to like. How do I put this? Like, I want her to overcome some of these same adversities that I overcame as a child, but I don't want her to suffer more than I suffered. Right? Like I had a pretty good like looking back on it with hindsight, I got teased. I had all these other things, but they never overwhelmed me.
Yes.
And I think that's the key, right? Is like finding that sweet spot of like, you need a little friction, but it can't cripple you.
Yes, I agree.
And that's the
I agree,
difficulty.
100%.
But
We want our
simultaneously,
kids to have we want them to go through stuff to grow, but not to go through too much they don't need to.
simultaneously though, in the absence of that, you create docile individuals who are incapable of reacting to even the slightest criticism. So in our attempt to eliminate all friction, we have created individuals that cannot handle any.
Yes, and they have anxiety.
Yeah, and all the other, all the woes of today's age.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm not trying to say that like in a nonchalant way. I do acknowledge that two things could be true at the same time. I can acknowledge that I think that my time was different than yours, kids, while
Yes.
simultaneously acknowledging that your trials and tribulations are fundamentally different from mine. But I do believe that high level thought process, though, is uniform. That like, even though the kids today have to navigate different waters than I did,
Yes.
that same threshold of a little friction is going to help you. A little bit of waves, like enough to get your strong shoulders, but not enough to drown you. It's going to make you a better swimmer.
For sure.
So,
I agree.
sorry, I don't know how we got into the topic of, juvenile.
Talking about
Sorry.
juveniles, yes, that's where we
forgive me.
went towards.
Rabbit holes, man. Rabbit holes. I have one more question about jiu-jitsu, if you don't mind me asking. I know I'm pivoting it hard. I'm sorry. This is a criticism I have. I'd be curious to hear your opinion on it. When I look at the jiu-jitsu landscape, martial arts, whatever, the one criticism I have the most about jiu-jitsu is not even like the competition side with like performance enhancing drugs or any of these other things. It's actually the cult-like behavior of a gym. The problem, like socially, with a progression system that's physically seen is that then it is merited universally. Someone could see a black belt and say, oh my God, this guy must be wise. This guy must be tough. This guy must be all these other things. Mm-hmm. And maybe he is tough and maybe he is great at jiu-jitsu, but he might also be an alcoholic. You know what I mean? And the morality of an individual is completely decoupled from their physical acumen.
Yes.
One of the things that I've found about jiu-jitsu is it seems to separate the merit of an individual from the physical achievement and the moral achievement, and that these black belts could be seen as better than they actually are simply because of their physical achievement. I've seen gyms run by people who are morally corrupt, and yet they seem to have a sway over individuals. Now, to also say, I know a lot of gyms who have, like Mike Rogers, St. Charles MMA. He's a black belt under Rodrigo Vaghi, one of the best men I've ever met in my life. So I am not saying that, like, by virtue of being a black belt and all these other things, that you could just do whatever you want. Huh? Mike is an example of someone who's been very selfless, great man, all these other things. However, I'm not going to name them. I could name you 5 black belts right now that I'm like, dude, you should not be running a gym, nor should you be around children.
There's a lot of that.
It's wild, right?
It's prevalent throughout.
So is that a fair criticism?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think that you should respect a black belt by just virtue of being a black belt.
I think there are some different cults within jiu-jitsu. The problem is that when new members enter a gym and they see black belt,
the clouds part.
Yes. and so they may stay, and then the instructors aren't, I don't want to say God, but they're looked up on a high pedestal.
100%.
And I think they're just enamored with that.
Yes.
And then they start falling into, I would say, toxic behavior.
If the individual is toxic, because here's the thing. So like, you're a black belt, right?
Correct.
One of the reasons why I have you on this podcast is I understand you to be a man of higher moral character. Now, that is not to say that you haven't made mistakes in your life. I'm sure 100%. You could probably list them off. But what I'm trying to say is, and you were alluding to it earlier, there are like 2 aspects of this. There's the teaching of jiu-jitsu part, the 5:30 a.m. class. But then how often does that class then become like a 30-minute powwow session after the class is over, where you're all sitting around just shooting the shit, and now you're talking to these people? The problem is, for the last hour, you've been the North Star of truth and guidance.
Yes.
And now your lived
Yes.
experience outside of jiu-jitsu is now being imparted to them. Now, that could be a good or a bad thing. Like I was saying, Mike Rogers is a great mentor. Mike Rogers can teach you jiu-jitsu and how to be a man. Great.
Yes.
There's a lot of guys that can teach you jiu-jitsu that should not be teaching you how to be a man. And the problem is that cult-like mentality is driven because of that physical acumen. And that's what worries me. That's like the one critique I have. There's black belts I know running classes that run great classes. And then afterwards are fucking saying some shit where I'm like, dude, what are you talking about?
And someone will say it openly in class, and someone will say it behind closed doors with certain
A
people.
closed Facebook group.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We all hear about the groups that people have that they said this, or someone will send you a screenshot.
Yeah.
I've seen that where they're talking crap on somebody, but I think it is prevalent. I think you have some gyms that are fantastic, welcoming. You have other ones that they don't want any cross training. They want to keep their students just there.
That's the biggest red flag. Personally, when someone tells me, first of all, I'm paying you to go to your gym. I'm sorry to say this. You're going to tell me where I'm a grown-ass man, first of all. Second of all, I'm fucking paying you for your services.
Exactly.
You're not telling me where the fuck I'm going. Sorry.
And I feel like some people get blinded by that he's up here and he said I can't train at another place.
That's so wild.
Man, I'm going to train where I want to train. Like you said, I'm a grown man. I'm going to train where I want to train.
Well, it also,
and I'm not going to be disrespectful to any of the instructors at the gym that I'm trying to.
But it also like when in history has the person trying to withhold, like trying to pull you back, trying to stop you from experience outside of like maybe I guess like Jesus, has that been like a bad thing? You know what I mean? Personal growth, development, especially in the nuanced industry of martial art. You were talking earlier about your individual friend Ryan, who traveled the world and was able to experience like different styles from different gyms, and how much of a value that is to you. Could you not make the argument that you could easily do that yourself if you were given the opportunity to travel?
100%, yes.
So then if you have an individual around you who is preventing you based on ego, no, don't go cross-train there. I know what I'm doing. I have the secret. Bro, what the fuck are we talking about? This is so common in jiu-jitsu, and I'll at me, I don't care. Like I said, I can list off 5 black belts in the St. Louis area, let alone if we were to expand. I don't know why. It's in jiu-jitsu so hard.
This is the only thing that I will say. I've been at Fathom for a year. I've been training jiu-jitsu for almost 16 years. The gym I left, I didn't feel appreciated for my skill level. As far as what I could bring to any gym, any environment, it was underappreciated. And I just, I would say quietly walked away. I'm sure it was a big splash after I left, but it was just, I had to, for my own personal growth, and then the team that we have at Fathom, it's fantastic.
How did you find Fathom? Like, were you becoming unhappy at your current environment and you started cross-training? Were you always cross-training? Like, how was it that you found Fathom?
I met Charles probably 10 years ago.
Okay, so you've known each other.
It's been a while. So honestly, we were all under the same umbrella. And he lived down in Carbondale and then moved up here to Highland, and he was training with us. And then he decided to open up his own gym 7 years ago. And we were all still affiliated with each other. But then, for me, a series of things happened. And then I was saying, I'm out. Then Charles left. Then other people left for whatever reason. And I'll leave it there. But he's had his own gym for 7 years. And he was in a small location for 2 or 3 years. And they have a bigger location. And now they have a school that should be opened up in July in Greenville. So Fathom is in Highland, and the HQ in the next year will be in Greenville. So me and Charles had a we have a friendship in just the way we view jujitsu. Because perfect example is with my wrestling, he's like, hey man, come to my school and show your gi takedowns. And so things just kind of built that way where I know where I'm good at, and I'm going to show any of your students you want what I'm good, fantastic at. If they want me to show them something else, I'll do that as well. But what I would say is there's a growth mentality that we all have. And as a collective, we're going to continuously grow and grow and grow.
I love that. That's a great way to describe it.
For sure.
Because to hold someone back, to prevent experience is by virtue to prevent growth.
100%.
So that was the one thing that because like I said, I'm a wrestler who turned fighter who is now beginning to kind of scratch the surface of jiu-jitsu. I've always trained jiu-jitsu, but I looked at jiu-jitsu the same way I looked at boxing, the same way I looked at Muay Thai. Like, these are aspects of MMA. So I was never passionate about them. I was interested in becoming adept at them. I need to understand submissions so that I don't get submitted, right? But I was never bathed in those waters, so to speak. Now, at 33 years of age, I'm starting to get the itch. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But one of the things that I'm trying to find how to navigate those waters properly, and I'm an observant individual, and it's just something that I was kind of seeing.
Yeah.
More common than not, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Which is kind of wild because the antithesis of martial art is like, humble because we've lost. We've all lost. So like simultaneously we're becoming extremely dangerous individuals against other extremely dangerous individuals. By virtue of this, you will have setbacks, you will have losses, all these other things. Yep. So you will inadvertently, the longer you're in martial arts, become more humble, become more dangerous, become more ego, but also become more humble. And to see a sport like jiu-jitsu where you were talking earlier about different styles and all these other things, dude, you can go into any gym and you can get worked by a purple belt and work a brown belt. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a wild ride, right? Yes. So if there's any martial art that I thought would be like super, open, like, come on in, like, let me show you what I got, show me what you got so I can upgrade my game, I thought it would be jiu-jitsu. Wrestling has that. I've seen that, like with EJ and Rossi and Alejandro and even Rogers, like high-level wrestling past high school, bro, they're all like, come on in, open mat, we won't charge you $1, bring as many people as you can. It's super inviting. And I'm not saying that jiu-jitsu isn't, because those same gyms that have those wrestling programs, Mike Rogers with Rossi Bruno, also have their jiu-jitsu program. Yes. So I'm not trying to shit on jiu-jitsu. That's not what I'm trying to do.
I know what you're saying.
But what I am trying to say is there seems to be like a stage 1 tumor, which could easily be removed, but we cannot allow to fester. That's kind of the observation that I'm making.
Yes. There's enough of the cultist gyms that shed, I would say, a bad light on jiu-jitsu.
As a whole,
yes. Because you have, the whole Miki Gava, like his dad, is being charged, basically alleged to have been molesting students. You heard the stuff that happened with Andre Galval, whether...
This is the
problem. I'm just stating names, and there's alleged different things.
Yeah, we're not saying anybody did anything, but it goes back to what we were saying about these people being held to a higher standard because of having a black belt.
Yes.
Just because you're good at jiu-jitsu doesn't mean you have high morals, dude.
Exactly.
These are two separate things.
And then you have one that they're controlling their students too, where to me loyalty shows if I'm your student and I go to your gym and train, it doesn't mean I'm going to leave your gym. But you have certain instructors that think, if you cross-train, my student's going to leave.
That is the biggest red flag.
Yes.
So
yes,
I this year, what I did is I took some of my kids to Ross. I'm going to take some of my kids to Pedigo with Alejandro. And my kids asked me, they're like, why do you want us to cross-train so much? I go, one of the things that I need to do as a coach, okay, is to teach you how to be coachable, not by just me. I don't want you in the 4 years of high school wrestling to understand my style of coaching and how I do it. I need you to go train with this guy. And you might not like this guy. You might not like his game. You might not like anything that he shows you. But what you need to acknowledge is that he has value and that you might not use a damn thing that he ever teaches you, but now you know it. Yes. And to choose to not use something and to not know something are two completely different things. I can understand a concept and refuse it versus being ignorant to it. But more importantly, I am not your only coach. I've had 6 coaches in my life, like main coaches, 6. And I could not explain to you how different each coach has been. But each coach has been a good coach. And I need to learn how to be coached. And that's another thing, like these kids, this is my summation because I'm a high school coach, right? I have these kids for 4 years, and some of them might go to college, some of them might go to MMA, some of them might go to jiu-jitsu, whatever. They will have another coach after me. It is my job to teach them how to be coachable, and they will cross-train, and they will learn other things. And they might look back on some of the things that I taught them and be like, he taught me wrong. That's my error, not theirs. That's the age of test of time. Yes. I love my coaches, and some of them gave me bad advice, but at the time, it was good advice. Yes. It's on the context. That when someone tells me, like, I'm worried about someone leaving if they go cross-train, that is the biggest fucking red flag. That means you have no security in your own...
In yourself.
You're that worried that they're going to do one trial class and they're going to bounce? How bad are you? Do you really offer that little value is all I can think.
There's enough gyms that have open mats so you can go and have fun.
Or how about this?
The
symbiotic nature. Let's say I have a gym and you train at my gym, and you go to another gym and they're like a leg lock gym, and we're predominantly like wrestlers, so we're like top heavy. You go learn a couple things. You bring that over to our gym. Now we're better for it.
Yes.
That's the antithesis of martial arts.
That's the growth. Because where I was at initially, we didn't do much leg stuff. I did the no-gi pants in New York as a brown belt. Guy got me some leg entanglement. I had no idea what to do. And he had me a straight ankle lock, and luckily he kept like pulling back, and he never like
got it to that point.
He never got to the point, and I ended up winning. Man, I went to 10th Planet with my friend Gary and went to his gym like, man, I need to learn leg stuff. Whether it's in my game or not, I want to at least learn how to defend it. There's nothing wrong with going to a gym that specifically works on leg entries.
I would say that that's the natural progression. Do you know everything about jiu-jitsu?
No.
I don't know anything about... I don't know everything about anything. So like at some point in time, I do think that I'm a good wrestling coach, but I don't know everything. So at some point in time, there is going to be someone else that has something else to show you that I don't know.
Yes.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
And that's why you go to seminars.
And that's why you do a bunch of shit. And by the way, that's why you as a coach, because this is the other thing about egos, that's why you as a coach, like I watched these practices. So like when I took my kids to St. Charles and May, guess what I did? I was fucking there. And they thought I was there to watch them. But in reality, what I was there was to watch the other coach.
Yes.
What are they showing? What are they saying that I might not be saying? A lot of what they taught, I knew. Great. Some of what they taught, I didn't know. Great. You never stop being the student. And that's what I think it is. Now that I'm saying it out loud, when you believe that you're done learning, you're done.
You're done. 100%.
You're done.
Yes. So at the black belt level, you keep learning. That was, to me, that was the beginning of the next phase. Is my first Jits tournament. Based on stripes, the guy had been a black belt longer than I had been training jiu-jitsu altogether. And I got beat by strategy. So then I learned the competition strategy stuff. But then, man, you're constantly learning stuff, man. There's something you can learn, and there's something you can always teach the students about jiu-jitsu. And then our body style. You need to be able to adjust it. A heavyweight may not move like me as a medium heavy, and somebody that's lightweight is going to move differently as well. And you have to be able to like teach the technique. How do you pass the guard? Okay, this is how you can pass the guard. This is how the big person can pass the guard. And there's certain foundational things, but if you're pretty athletic, you can try something else. If you're a little bit slower, let's work on this.
You guys rely on technique.
Yeah, you sure do, and your leverage. And to me, you're constantly learning. That's what it's about. And to me, when you go to another gym, you're learning how tough the room is too. Because funny story is, when I was training for the no-gi pants and worlds, I went down to Pedagog's to train with Heath. And that's when the room was like Chad Hawkins, Andrew Wiltsey. Yes.
Woo!
And
back when Andrew was, what was Andrew, a blue belt or a purple belt at that time? Because Andrew was a blue belt, he was beating brown belts and black belts.
Yes.
Just for reference.
Oh.
So when you say Andrew's in the room, it's like, okay, let's, you know what I mean?
100%, yes. And I remember rolling with some of their white belts, and I was taking it easy, and he was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, if I did that at the gym I was at with the white belts, they probably wanted to quit. He's like, we don't do that here. So
Culture.
It is culture. And it's that, I don't want to say blue collar, but that room was tough throughout. And not saying where I started off at didn't have that. When I first joined, that's how the room was.
But not every here's the thing I hate. Here's the thing about culture. The thing about culture is it's also like a market. If every gym is balls to the walls, killers like Heath Pedagog's, you got 5 of those in the nation. Because then you got like the top of the top guys, and then everybody else feels like, dude, I can't fucking do this shit. So I hate to say it this way, but like, it's also a market. And you might not have when I say you, I mean like the proverbial you. You might be a gym owner, and maybe you don't have the killers in the room. But if you got 30 women doing self-defense jiu-jitsu and like getting to the blue belt level, that's a fucking dub. You feel me? Like,
yes,
it's not about necessarily being the world's champion or whatever. It's about what is the goal. So for Heath Pedagog, when he tells you, no, let's go, that's what he's trying to sell.
Exactly. But that's the room. At Fathom, it's a competitive gym, but it has women classes, great women's class, great children's class, and you have the parents that's in there with their kids who are training jiu-jitsu. They're trying to get in shape, learn a new skill, camaraderie, having fun, and you have the competitors. So it's a fantastic mix of what we have.
And you've been there now for how long? About 1.5 years, 2 years?
I pretty much left my former gym in February is when I would say I officially left.
Recent. Yeah.
Yes.
But you've been cross-training before then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so.
I would say about 1 year ago is when I really started kind of transitioning away so much, but then.
So we were just talking about cults. How weird did it feel to leave?
I miss some of the guys.
Do you not talk to them?
I do.
Okay.
But I just don't see them. I don't see them like I did. So there's guys that they know, and me and another guy, we talk, whose car we taking? You call me at 3 a.m, I'm going to say whose car we taking. So I have friends that I still talk to, but I just miss seeing them at least once a week, twice a week, because those are my homies. But they know if you need me, I got you. I'm going to send you a text, say, how you doing? I'm going to send you a text, say, happy Father's Day to you. We need to hook up and grab a beer or just hang out. So I miss that part of interacting with my boys after practice. Because, I mean, we would train hard, and then we would, like, talk, kind of catch up. Because we're all a little bit older, too, so we talked about family and sports, kids, things like that. But I don't miss the environment. I can 100% say that and not divulge reasons why I left, put it that way.
I will say one thing. One of the things that I did not put a emphasis of importance on when I was training for fighting was that camaraderie, was that group. And I didn't realize how much of that was tied to the gym. Because you call each other friends. And by the way, no disrespect to anything I'm about to say. Wayne, Chris, Eric, I love all you guys. And we still talk, and I've had them all on the podcast. But one of the things that did kind of surprise me was like how infrequently we interacted when I no longer trained at the gym. Are we boys? I love these guys. You know what I mean? They're till death. However, you know, they all have their own jobs. They all have their own lives. Yeah. And then what they choose to do with their free time is spend it at the gym that I no longer go to. So then for me to get like extra free time becomes increasingly difficult. And that was like a tough pill for me to swallow. I didn't realize that. The reason I ask about, you know, when you left and the circumstances in that is because I'm sure you felt a little bit of that as well. You got a lot of the guys back there. You're still boys. You still care about each other. But like, there's only 24 hours in the day. I spend 6 hours of that at least sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to do with the other 18?
And we work. We have
kids.
Some of them have grandkids.
God bless.
And I almost feel like the ex-girlfriend. I felt like going to the parking lot and like seeing them at their gym. Like, hey man, I miss you guys. But I know I will see them when I see them, and I know we'll just pick up where we left off at. And that's what.
Do they know that you feel that way?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
There's, like I said, again, just some of my philosophies. If you can't change things around you, you change the things around you. So with me leaving, I just left. I kind of forgot the question. What was the question again?
No, I just wanted to know if the gentleman that when we were talking about like leaving the gym, leaving the environment, and feeling not ostracized from that initial friend group, but do the individuals that mattered to you at that gym know how much you kind of feel that void now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Because I talked
It's a high price to pay.
Specific people, because they asked, like, man, tell us your side of why. Because, like I said, I didn't say anything. Again, my dad, sometimes we walk away, just walk away. They don't need an explanation for certain things. So when they said, hey, man, why did you leave? I gave them the reasons. And I say reasons because I heard it's like a reason I left, but there are reasons why I left. And we talked about it. And when I see them, I let them know, man, hey, I miss you. If I see them at the singles open, I'm going to talk to them. Hey, man, miss you. Send them a text. Like I said, I'll send them a text, man. Just, brother, check in. Because we're all going through something that we may not even express. But I am that guy that's going to send a text and say, hey, man, brother, check in. Everything good.
I'm glad you do that.
Yeah, because I know everybody goes through stuff. And there's guys I trained with for like 10, 12 years. Like I said, I was there for a good 15 years. So
it's a good chunk of change.
Yeah, you're my homie. Like, you who I trust. When you're doing some funky leg stuff, I'm not going to tap right away. I'm going to work with you and let you work your game. But I trust you.
Not to hurt me.
Not to hurt me. And that's just that bond and friendship that I have with the guy. So
over years.
Yes. And I'll even say this, man. I thought about leaving well before when I left. And it was the guys that kept me there. So and that's something that in my circle they knew. I considered leaving probably 4 or 5 years ago. But I stayed because of the bond and my boys to train with. And so, yeah, I miss them. I miss certain guys I do miss. But they will reach out to me. There's some that showed up for the last CXBJJ, which felt good to see, because some of them I knew, some of them I didn't know were going to show up, and they showed up. So that just showed what I meant. And then some of them have called me and was like, man, you were a mentor to me when I was at this belt level. You gave me advice about how to compete, how to slow down. So I know how they feel about me, but I've expressed the same way how I feel about them too.
I love that.
And I'm bringing the same thing to the new gym I'm a part of now too.
We have a guest this weekend who's going to come on to talk about his experience in the military, and more specifically, like the subconscious effects that has on the mental health. And it made me go down the rabbit hole of just like mental health in general. And it's funny because masculinity I believe that masculinity in itself is like a double-edged sword. Simultaneously, I do not believe that as men we are afforded the luxury of weakness. I'm sorry, we're not. However, we can.
That's how we were reared.
No, I'd go a step further. You're not afforded that luxury as a man. To be a man, You cannot be weak. However, the flip to that coin is you are allowed to be exclusively weak to a few number of people, a few number of times. And that's why those people that you can be weak with are so monumental. And the reason why you have an epidemic of mental health issues with men is because they don't even have that. They don't have the few number of people that they can be weak to. I love my wife. My wife is my fucking superstar. I'm afforded one crash out a month.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if I start to crash out too much, if I start to come with too many problems and not enough solutions, she will no longer look at me as a man, as the leader, as the one that can handle these things. Your father, for instance, is a perfect example. Your father has come to you with countless times great advice. How many times does your father have to come to you with bad advice to where you start to question his judgment? Over the course of time, it's different, right? Because it's been so long. But what I'm trying to say is I've been married for 3 years, okay? The reason why I say one crash out a month is if it was 30 years, then I'm afforded as many crash outs as I want. You know what I mean? Hey, you know me, you know what you're signing up for.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But what I'm trying to say is I have a wife where when life hits me hard, I don't call friends. If it's really bad, my wife will see it. And even then, I'm afforded certain times that I can do that because I still need her to realize that, no, I do know what I'm doing. I am strong. I am capable. I am a leader. I can't do all these things. But even then, I have my moments of doubt. The problem that we have as men is this is what I think. By all means, when I'm done, rip into me. We are trying to create a society where it is okay for men to show their flaws relentlessly. The problem is, if every day you come to me and you're like, I feel bad about this and I feel bad about this, how many times until I go, dude, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear about this shit. Got my own shit. Now, if you never come up to me and one day you call me and you're like, I need to talk to you. Bro, I'm dropping whatever I'm doing. Hey, are you good? Should I come over? You want to grab a drink? This is what I'm talking about. It's not that men can't be weak.
I'm tracking now.
Does that make sense?
I'm tracking, yes.
But I am not afforded the luxury of being weak to everybody. In fact, there will be certain people on this planet that I love that will never see me weak. Then there will be people, 2 or 3, my father, my wife, my brother, that can sometimes see what I am. But then it's also a check on me. Because if I need them to see me weak 3, 4 times a month, no, then there's a problem with me. Why am I weak that often? Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I just thought you're being human versus being weak. I'm tracking what you're saying, but showing emotion doesn't make you
but
weak.
we're men. I'm
we're
sorry.
men.
I'm sorry.
Okay,
but
so
we're
if
men.
you came to me weak, I would probably give you a certain number, and I would say,
What's that number?
I don't know.
It's a mathematical equation. It's a mathematical equation. There's a threshold to where you stop picking up the phone. Stuff? Okay, that's not what I'm saying. Because that's a little different. Like, what if shit just fucking happens? And like one day I lost my job. The other day it's like I got into a car accident and all these other things. Things can happen.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, dude, you called me 3 weekends in a row. Handle your business.
Oh, you're gonna get that from me.
Okay.
100%.
Okay. So we're on the same page.
Yes. But as far as so there are a certain number of people that have seen me cry. And I would say my dad has more emotional intelligence than I thought that he had. Because I only saw the masculine former Vietnam vet who was infantry. I saw the tough side. But I understand there is a softness that he has to have raising boys and his grandchildren and my mom. My parents have been married for 55 years, 56 years this year.
Shout out Mr. Byrd. And Mrs. Byrd.
Yeah, so he has to have a certain softness. But I missed it. Talks about it in my 40s.
See, this is where I disagree with you. I don't believe that's soft. That's intelligence. So the EQ and IQ, for someone to be, you know this better than anyone because of jiu-jitsu. You've experienced so many losses and so many like rounds where you've tapped. You know what it's like to be the nail. so that when you're the hammer, you hold that power with reverence. That's how your father is. When you say that he has higher emotional intelligence, no. He's been through this shit so fucking bad that when you come to him with your problems, maybe you're down on your knees crying, he doesn't feel weakness in you. Now, if you do it every other weekend, but when he sees that in you, it's not EQ. It's what's the word I'm looking for here? He sees himself in you. He sees himself. That this is the thing about men. We are hardest on each other, but we're also actually low key much more forgiving, because men will see themselves in other men in a way that women don't. I'm sorry, women. Because we see that you're going through some of the trials and tribulations. You're growing the same way I was with younger. I know that I have mentors that feel that way about me, and I have kids that I feel that way about. But if these kids come up to me every fucking weekend, I'm like, hey, dude, handle your fucking business. Call me when you need me. Click. You can be weak once a month. Suck it up after that. And don't do it with everybody. Don't call 6 people. Call 1. And then let that one person know, hey, I called you. You want them to hold that mantle? Let them know what mantle they're holding. Because a lot of times we won't do that as men. We'll call somebody and like we're trying to like, I kind of want to talk about something, but like I don't really want you to know that I'm weak. Okay, fucking tell them. Dude, I'm having a really bad fucking day. I feel like I have no one else I can talk to. I called you. Watch what a man will do. I bet you they'll drop whatever the fuck they're doing and they'll be like, yo, Anthony, you good? You need me to come over?
For sure, yes.
But you can't do that every week. That's what I'm trying to say. You can't be weak, but you can just seldomly. Pick and choose your moments. And by doing that, you'll actually become stronger.
It's the right moment for it. Yeah, I can't even say pick and choose. It's the right moment for that. And
shit can happen. Agreed.
Because, okay, so
what with what I said do you disagree with?
As far as showing emotion to your wife?
Not what I said.
Well, you say you give her like so many times.
She can see me weak. She can see me weak.
But
That's not emotion.
But
she'll see frustration. She'll see love. What weak is I don't have an answer, babe. I don't have an answer.
Then you don't have an answer.
Yeah, but dude, when I don't have an answer 4 times a week, come on now.
Yeah, get your stuff together.
Exactly.
Okay, that's so I'm trying to see like what you mean by a week. Because week to me could be, as we grew up, man, suck it up, walk it off. Be tough. Boys don't cry.
There are circumstances you can overcome.
That's kind of how I look at when I hear being weak. I think it's just like my perspective of how I grew up. Like when I hear weak, I think of those things.
Let me give you an example. My wife is one of the few people that have seen me cry. Okay? Once. Not like tears of joy, by the way. Not tears of joy. I'm a very happy guy.
Only thing I can say to that is talk to me when you hit 40.
Okay, so you think it's an ignorance of age?
For sure.
So what? I'll have more circumstances of which to cry?
Yes. Because, okay, so your exact point is my college roommate passed away in our 30s. And I remember getting a phone call that he passed away. And I went to my dad's church. I remember crying in his back room, just uncontrollably. I go to his funeral, and I held back my tears so I wouldn't cry. I did not want to I didn't want to cry because we were raised, boys don't cry. Suck it up, walk it off. So when I was around your age, I'm not shedding a tear for anybody. I'm going to bite my lip. I'm not going to cry. Fast forward now, there's certain things that may make me tear up. Now, my dad's probably seen me cry the most as a grown man because I would go to him and we hold the world on our shoulders. So in that moment, I can just be like, Dad, man, I'm having a bad day. Or I'd even say like a bad season. By the time I come to my dad, normally like it's been like a series of things or something just major. But I have cried. And other people I've gotten close to have seen me tear up and stuff. And so...
Yeah, but how often does that happen, dude? You're making my point for me.
Not often.
You didn't cry in front of everybody. Why? Because everybody doesn't deserve that.
No.
But you cried in front of your father.
For sure.
that when you got the news, because he does deserve that. This is what I'm trying to say is like, in a way, you're kind of making my point that when I am weak to you, it's kind of like a compliment as well. You'll never see this side of me. You'll never see me weak. And I guarantee I'll probably never see you weak. Not because we don't like each other. In fact, after this conversation, I like you more than before this conversation. But we're not like that.
You're right. You're right. You're right. You're
And that's
100%,
okay.
100%,
By the way, I don't
100%.
want to see you weak. Reserve that for the people that are truly important for you. But even then, we have to know that as men, they look to us as two ways, leaders. The way you look at your father. I'm sure if your father were to come to you and cry, you would hold him, you would acknowledge him, you would love him, you would overwhelm him with acceptance and joy and love because of how much you view him as a leader, as a strength, as a pillar,
Yes.
how often you went to him for advice and guidance. And that's the thing. I'm not saying that as men we can be weak. What I'm saying is you have to pick and choose. And that picking and choosing shows your true stoicism. I don't cry in front of everybody. I don't show my weakness.
Yeah, I would never show. I would never cry in front of everybody, and I would not show.
Or just
in front
like
of
everybody. My weakness is exclusively shown to a small number of people
For sure.
very infrequently. And that all those other times where I feel, you know when you go to the hospital and they're like, where's your pain level 1 through 10? If it's a 1 through 9, I'm going to suck it the fuck up. And I think that that's how men should be. But if it's a 10,
Most of the guys I know are that way.
I do need my outlet if it's a 10. Because if I don't have my outlet when it's a 10, I'm going to implode. And that's what I'm trying to say. As a man, I cannot be weak. But when I am, because I will inevitably be, I need to pick and choose my moments. And what that will do is teach me as a man what really is important and what really isn't.
I hear you saying, I'm not sure if you'll pick your moment.
Sure. Go ahead.
It'll be the right opportunity to be weak.
Explain.
Okay, so I was at my former gym. Weight of the world's on my back, and one of the guys was like, "Byrd, are you okay?" And I wasn't. And there's a part of me that any other day would have been like, "Man, I'm good," and I would have sucked it up. But at that moment, I was like, "You know what? I'm not."
How close are you with this individual?
That's my homie.
Well, that's your boy.
That's my boy. That's my boy.
Close?
Yeah,
You afforded that luxury, brother. You can.
for sure. And if it would have been anybody else from that gym, it wouldn't have happened.
You're making my point
I know,
for me.
because I saw weak as viewed a little bit different. That's all. I mean, I probably am making your point.
You have that outlet. Here's the thing I'm trying to say.
And, okay, and I'll say this too. Even if I'm at that moment, I may pick up the phone and I may not make that phone call because I'm not. So
circumstances of the day. Maybe something changes. What I'm trying to say though is how lucky are you that you feel like you have that? This is what I'm trying to get at is I do believe this is the truth, that I cannot be weak, but when I can, I need my outlets. And it is my job as a man to facilitate those outlets. I need to create the strong emotional attachments, the bonds, the true bonds. That is my job as a man. Because I cannot show that vulnerability to just anybody. Then that shows how weak I am. But I can show how weak I am to the right people. But even then, it has to be infrequent. It has to be. Because if I frequently show you my weakness, then what am I?
pretty doggone soft.
I'm weak. But if I infrequently show you my weakness, what does that tell you? Oh shit, Arion never cries. Oh shit, Arion never calls me. This is important. And I need you for those moments. But it's like the boy who cries wolf. If I tell you that everything is scary, nothing is scary. If every email at work is urgent, no email is urgent. That's what I'm trying to say as a man. You are not afforded the luxury of being weak. Only you can be weak when it really matters, and you have to facilitate those bonds to do it. The problem we have as men today, more than not we, the proverbial we, but men, is that they don't have those bonds. So now they'll go on social media and, oh, I'm so lonely and all these other things. And these are very real thoughts. These are thoughts that all of us have had. The problem is the outlet. You don't tell everybody this shit, dude, because no one cares.
Yeah, not at all.
And then we'll have this epidemic of like how we're saying, no one cares about mental health. No, the problem is no one cares about your mental health because no one cares about you because you're a man who facilitated zero bonds. You can't go to the world like a
with
kid.
all your doggone
With a
problems.
kid, like a kid can. A kid can go to the world and we'll all feel for him. A woman can do that. That is their luxury. We are not afforded that luxury. We are afforded something actually greater. A true shoulder to cry on, but we have to facilitate that shoulder. And we have to teach men, be strong. But when you are weak, be very selective with that weakness. And then have those people understand the mantle you just bestowed upon them. My wife knows how much I love her because I fucking tell her.
I think if certain people cry on my shoulder, it just speaks to our friendship.
Maybe.
In the bond.
How much do they cry on your shoulder? That's what it goes back to my frequency thing. They're crying on your shoulder every week, bro.
There's no male friend that I have gonna cry on my shoulder.
Okay, God bless.
Often at all.
God bless.
I mean, frequently.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is, other people, that is the case.
Gotcha.
And then they're trying to tell these people like, oh, you need to work on your mental health or whatever. It's like, no. Here's the truth of the matter. I do believe, I'm willing. Listen, please step in if you think I'm like fucking crazy. I think this is my statement. This is my statement. As a man, you are not afforded the luxury of weakness to the masses. You are exclusively afforded that luxury infrequently to the ones that you care for the most. Because by virtue of being a man, you have to show stoicism, wisdom, strength, all of these attributes in leadership. And if you don't want to be a leader, you don't have to be. As a man, you can forego that pedestal. You can forego it, but then you can't bitch about it later. You can't bitch to everybody about all your woes and issues and all this other stuff and then want to be taken seriously as a man. You can't cry on everybody's shoulder and then say that you're strong. You don't get these things. You can either cry on everybody's shoulder and be a bitch, or you can cry on one person's shoulder once every few months and be a man.
I wouldn't want to put a number on that because if it's significant enough to cry, somebody's going to tear up.
Yeah, but how infrequently do those things happen? How many roommates can pass? How many, monumental things can pass in your life? Like, don't get me wrong, dude. If you had something happen and it's monumental, who am I to
For sure, but what if that experience keeps
But here's the thing too. To your point about like circumstances, what if you got some really bad news and you might be around a lot of people that you're not that close to, but your mom dies. You might be around a bunch of people that you're not close to, but the weight of that moment is so monumental that it overcomes you. These are extenuating circumstances. But how many times can those happen? My mathematical equation for manhood,
I would say to that question
introduces
too,
frequency.
If my mom passes and I'm around a bunch of people that I don't
By the way,
know,
I hope none of these things happen.
Yeah. I'm going to go someplace else and I'm not.
You're making my point for me.
I'm making your
but
point.
Why do you feel that? But why do you feel that? But why do you feel
I don't believe everybody needs to know anything about me, whether it is good or bad. That's just how I feel.
Because you're a fucking man. That's what men do. You're going to handle your
not
shit.
Everybody needs to know your business either.
I'm not trying to sound obtuse. I'm not trying to sound like a douche. I say this because I believe this. I'm not saying that I'm not weak. I'm telling you that I've cried. I'm telling you that I have weakness. I'm telling you I've made bad choices and I have failures. You will never see that. Ever in your life. Ever.
I may not, but there's something where like I'm getting to know you, and if I see you're not talking a whole bunch or like outgoing, I might be like,
maybe not to you.
You okay? You may not, but I'll at least check on you. Be like, man, you good?
God bless you. And here, okay, let's expand on this one.
You may not ever, but
no. I like what you just said. Let's expand on this then, because I will give some ground for criticism. I did make the point about having those bonds. And if someone like you comes into my life and starts to present themselves as someone where I do have that ability to show some weakness and all these other things, then I might take you up on that offer. But even then, you've extended me an olive branch that I need to seldomly use, not overextend. Because my problems are not yours. That's not how this works. I can't offload my burdens onto you.
For sure.
It's not fair.
And I think as men, we don't really offload our emotions too much. But there's times when for me, I know after interacting with somebody or something's on their mind or not. Even if they want to share, you got somebody that's watching and checking on you. Are you all right? And you may be like, man, I'm good, fist bump, cool. But you'll walk away like, dang, man, maybe I am showing my emotion.
You know what? You're right. You're right. Let me add a different paradigm to that. I think that everything I said is the right way, but I'll add another line to that. And that other line is you need to have the facilitated relationships to also offload all the the recent shit that you think is bad and woeful and important. Go to jujitsu and work out with the boys and then banter, and then the day will feel better. You need these physical and emotional outlets throughout the day so that you do feel the infrequency of those monumental moments. So I will extend my comment. I still think that as a man, you cannot be weak, but if you have a good group around you, you will not feel weak. So you will not feel these urges of like, it's okay.
So I'm gonna flip it on you.
I'm bullshitting with Anthony.
Say you have a son. Are you gonna say to him, you can't be weak? I don't want you to cry. Suck it up.
Brother, I have a daughter, and I said I don't tell her she can't cry. I ask her. I don't tell anybody. So here's how I am as an individual. No one on this planet is gonna tell me what I'm fucking gonna do.
All right, I'm trying.
Unless you can physically force me, suck my dick, you can ask me. Now, if you ask me, 10 times out of 10, I'll probably do it for you. Hey, Ariana, can you help me with this? Yeah, buddy, I got you. But if you tell me to do something, who the fuck are you? So when I parent the way, like, the golden rule. I do unto others the way I want to be unto me. So, like, I don't tell my daughter anything. You're not going to do... I ask questions. Why are you crying? I'm crying because I'm sad. Why are you sad, baby? You make me sad. Why did I make you sad, baby? You're not taking me to the park. Why am I not taking you to the park, baby? Because I made a mess. Why did you make a mess, baby? Because I was playing. Well, if you clean up your mess, baby, we can go to the park. And then you could see the light, like, oh. I don't believe in, like, telling people what they can and cannot do, because I'm also a human myself. I'm not perfect. Look, going back to our thing about jiu-jitsu, I don't know everything. So, like, this is how I feel about manhood. I am open, and I said to you, like, present to me criticism, please.
For sure.
This is what I think. But I am open to data that could change that. I have not been presented data that I think does. I've been presented additional tertiary things that you're absolutely correct.
Yes.
Like, there are layers to this onion, acknowledged, but the overwhelming thought, the highest level thought, I still stand by. So to your point about your son, like coming up to you and you're going to tell him, you can't do this. No, I would never say that to him. What I would ask him questions.
You can't, but I'm just trying to think of, like, I feel like I had daughters first, then I had my son. I feel if my son was the oldest, I probably would be like, you're wrestling, and he would have probably been this little more of a fighter. But with me going through the daughters first, I feel like I was able to be a little bit different with him. But that's all. Just I didn't know.
Let me ask you this question then, as a father. Do you think that the acknowledgement of like forcing your image of masculinity on your son being different, whether you or not you had daughters first or second, is that fair on your son?
It wouldn't have been.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Because I would have for sure been one of the dads that's like, man, what are you crying for? Suck it up. Because that's kind of how we were reared. And then when the way I grew up was, you can't be no punk. You can't cry. We make fun of each other. You can't cry. You were just viewed as soft. That's just kind of how, like, I grew up. And then, like, the music was all about being tough and things like that. So there was, like, a perfect storm of things on, like, how I grew up in, the 80s and 90s.
I will also acknowledge that I will add the factor that I think that there is a lot of propaganda and miscommunication of masculinity. I will acknowledge that. So what is perceived to be true manhood and, like, what a man should be and all these other things, it has been morphed over the course of time. But anybody that does any sort of reading, either like any literature, from like I said earlier, Marcus Aurelius' Meditations to the Holy Bible, okay? Mm-hmm. The idea of masculinity, the true idea of masculinity, is not a secret. It's always been and will always will be. It's not about wealth. It's not about affluence. It's not about any of these things. It's about the stoicism of an individual. It's about their morality. It's about their decision-making capabilities. It's about their strength and character when no one else is looking. And that's what makes a man. That's what I'm trying to say. To have these attributes, sometimes you have to tell a little boy, stop crying. Because he might be crying about things that are not important. But if your wife died and your son was crying, would you tell your son stop crying? No, exactly. So it's the context of the situation as well. We're not telling our boys to stop crying. We're telling our boys to stop crying at stupid shit.
There's a legit reason to cry, yes.
That's why I ask questions. If my daughter's crying about something legitimate, I don't ask questions. I hold her. Because that's my job as a father to have that EQ because I have that lived experience.
100%, yep.
I cannot be weak. I have to be strong for my daughter in that sense. But maybe what my daughter's crying about also affects me. Can I cry in front of my daughter? No. I'll cry in front of my wife. Do you understand the concept of what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And then I want my wife to know. Because here's the thing. If my wife sees my weakness and cannot fathom the respect and admiration that I'm giving her, and it doesn't have to be my wife. It could be my friend, right? Insert whatever person you want.
Uh-huh.
If I cry in front of my wife, if I'm weak in front of my wife, and my wife does not understand the monumental reverence that I have for her to be able to be this weak in front of her, she won't value it properly. She'll think man, Arian's having a crash out. She won't say, Arian waited to have this crash out when he got home alone in bed with me after the kids are sleeping. He's been holding this shit all fucking day, not talking to anybody about it in truth, and now he waited to talk to me. That's why I love my wife. That's why she'll be my wife till the day I die. Not because of, love you, babe, not because of the sex, not because of the money or the kids or anything.
Yeah. That's the relationship you guys have built.
My rock.
For sure.
Now, how many rocks can I have in my life? Like I said, I have my brother, my father, my wife. And maybe, hopefully, when my daughter gets older, like the same way I am with my father now. My relationship with my father has changed over the course of time. When I was 18 versus 28 versus now. When my daughter's 30, maybe she will become one of those rocks. And probably will be. I mean, it is the natural progression of life for every child, hopefully, to bury their parents. It should never be the other way around.
Yes.
So one day, my daughter will also see me weak. But she will have a lifetime of strength to remember me by, not that moment.
I think I just hate how you're using weak. To me, it's just you're just being human.
Yeah.
Because the circumstance would dictate.
Yeah, but we're not given that luxury, brother. You're a man. That's what I'm trying to say. You're right. I am human, but I'm a man. So no.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe I'm being obtuse. Maybe I'm being obtuse. There's going to be a bunch of people that are like, shut the fuck up, Ariana. You don't know what the fuck you're
my kids
about.
wouldn't see me cry unless it's something major. But I'm not just going to cry anyway. If I cry,
it's got to be big.
And my kids would be like, man, this
is a real serious moment. Dad, what is wrong? We never see you cry.
Correct.
Frequency.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't cry in front of these people that are close to you or something. But if you do it every month, 2 months, a year, it's like, oh, okay. It's that time of the month. It's that time of the whatever. You know what I mean? And
people will stop listening.
Yeah, because it's the frequency. It's you can attribute this to everything else in life. I hate to say it this way. I'm not trying to be vulgar with it. Do you remember the first time you've ever been with a woman? Yeah. Monumental. Yeah. Literally life-changing. What about the 10th? What about the 100th? What about the 1000th? That's how it is to be a man. If I cry on your shoulder, you'll remember the first time. The 10th time, 100th time, holy shit, brother, get your shit together.
Put you on delete. No.
Yeah, it's like, you got to start paying me for this. I'm not your personal therapist for nothing.
And the reason, okay, so I've not really had anybody cry on me frequently, but if somebody complains a bunch,
yeah,
because
they're a negative Nancy.
You're not gonna.
They don't have agency over their life. They just want to complain to you, but they don't want to be you're. Once again, you're making my point for me.
Yes.
If they were true men, they would fix the problems. You would have never even heard of it. Hey, buddy, how's your day? Great. How's your day? Great. All right, let's go do some jiu-jitsu. If you ask me how's your day, no, I'll tell you what, Anthony. Shit's fucked. and I never say that, now you're going to sit down and you're going to listen.
Uh-huh.
That's all I'm trying to say is I'm not saying you can't be weak as a man. I'm just saying pick and choose your fucking moments. And when you start being selective with it, which is, by the way, how I feel men should be with their partners. It's the same way that we should feel about sex, but I get it. I'm a 33-year-old
I
man.
wouldn't even say selective, though. To me, it's whatever caused you to cry or be emotional, it's going to come out.
Yeah, but if you start becoming more selective about it, these thresholds will become higher and higher. I don't cry about spilled milk. I don't cry about, money that I've lost. I cry about things that matter. Yeah. I cry about death. I'll cry tears of joy.
I think that's probably the first time my kids probably saw me cry was when my grandmother passed away. So I remember looking down and the second oldest daughter, she kind of looked at me like, wow, that's crying.
Now let me ask you a question. How often will that happen? Once. Your grandma will only pass, your grandmother-in-law, but you understand what that question I'm asking is. How these are monumental moments. These are the few moments that men do have to show these emotions.
My thing is you can't pick those. They just...
Agreed on that sense.
The situation just happens.
But that goes back to my equation of frequency. It's the frequency that matters. So like the frequent things in life, that's my wife. The infrequent things, dude, when my dad dies, if I get that phone call and I'm in front of you guys, you're going to see me cry. 100%. One time in your life, you'll see me cry. Not 10.
Frequently, exactly.
Not 10, not 100.
Exactly.
These are different stories. And this is what I go back to my statement. As a man, you are not afforded the luxury of being weak. But you are. Pick and choose those moments wisely. Because people will also, other men and other people will resonate with that. If I know people that I've seen cry, like men, powerful men, like, and I don't mean powerful in wealth and stature. I mean powerful, like stoic, capable, intelligent men. I've seen them break down for really good reasons. And it made me think more of them. They chose this moment, this circumstance to be weak.
I don't think you choose the moment. It's just that moment.
They chose that moment in front of me.
Okay.
They didn't cry before then. Not even crying, but like, I didn't see that side of them ever. You know what I mean? I'll give you a prime example, Tony. Coach Ford. Coach Ford, I've only seen him emotional once in my life. I've known him for 25 years. And he's one of the most, you would agree with me on this one, like old black guy, North Carolina. The amount of lives this guy has touched, countless, truly countless, including my own. Uh-huh. I see him as a father figure. You know what I mean? I've only ever seen him emotional once. Yeah. Yeah. Why? But why? Because he knows he cannot be weak.
How old is he?
70.
Yeah, about to turn 70.
Dude, he's the fucking man.
I think that's that generation, though.
That's every generation. They had it right.
That's that generation because my dad has told me, there's one point in time, he probably told his grandkids, I love you, more times in like a month or two than he did for us growing up. But we knew Dad loved us. But that was a generation where...
That's a bias. Dude, it's the grandparents. His job was to rear you. His job is to spoil them. That's a different task.
However, I would tell my kids I love you.
Yeah.
At different times. But my dad was not I love you, son. I remember him saying a little bit more when I got in college and then more as an adult, but growing up.
But did he need to be? Because earlier you were talking about how tough he was. And he would come home from a long day's work and you see the blister on his stub and he didn't bitch. He didn't cry. And you made it. We've been on this conversation for 2.5 hours. You could have said a bunch of things about your father, but what did you choose to say? How he didn't show those things and how you do subconsciously value that.
And now, I knew he loved us too, so it wasn't even a question about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Dude, it is one thing for me to tell my daughter I love her, and it's a different thing for me to show it.
Exactly.
Your father showed you his love day after fucking day.
Yes.
And didn't tell you all this.
Wasn't a crying a whole bunch, and they weren't.
His generation was better. His generation was better. They did it better than us. I'll say that till the cows come home. They did it better than us. Because our generation is a generation of mental health and also the bullshit. Everybody that wants to talk about bullshit. No. I will talk to a few number of people on a few number of occasions when shit actually fucking matters. So that when I actually open my fucking mouth, you will listen. I guarantee you. Like,
I
this in
mean,
my
when I
soul.
go there emotionally, there's only a handful of people that I'm going to open up to.
You want to know what your reservation for this all is because you've been the shoulder for countless people to cry on, because you've been a welcoming voice to individuals.
Yeah. Yes.
And you've been a saint to them. What you don't understand is, though you're a one-to-many connection. You have been one individual who's been the shoulder for many people, but many people have only had one shoulder, and that's been yours. So you have a skewed judgment on this one. That's what I'm getting at from this. You think that this is normal. In actuality, you have been that relationship to these young men, and you haven't even known it. The mantle you've been wearing, and you haven't even understood it.
I think you're spot on.
Maybe. What the fuck do I know, dude?
No, I think you're spot on. I think I have a lot of people that will call me when they have an issue, and I'll pick up the phone and give them advice. Yeah.
And God bless. To be that is monumental. Like I said, I only have 3. So like, if you're one of those 3 people, you're of the most high to me. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I'd do anything for you. Literally, I'd do anything for my father, my brother, my wife. Anything. My daughter. Anything. And I think that says a lot about you. That you have that connection. That you feel this type of way. That you're able to navigate those emotional waters with integrity. God bless. Like, I'm not trying to sound like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like nonchalant. Like, I'm being genuine.
Oh,
God bless.
I'm tracking. Because I'm not a me. Okay, you see, this person's calling me or this person needs me. I know people know they can always reach me and call me if they have an issue.
God bless.
And I'm going to give them as much advice I can. But I will say, if you're complaining about the same thing, that's your last time, bro.
Yeah.
And also knowing somebody's calling to vent or they want a solution. If they're calling to vent, I'm only gonna give you so many times, and then, bro, you need to fix that.
Venting is like that's a good segue, right? Is like, it's one thing I always say whenever people call me, I'll ask them like, oh, okay, listen, if we're gonna have this conversation, are you looking for like conflict resolution or are you looking for therapy? What do you want? Because if you want me to fix your problem or help work out how to fix your problem, I'm here for you.
Exactly.
I'm all about fixing problems. If you want me to fucking listen to you, I do not have the time. I don't have the time. Unless you're my wife, I'll listen to your bullshit.
You're right.
Unless you're my father, I'll listen to his bullshit. Why? Because I tell them my bullshit.
Because at a certain point, people will drain you too. If they were just calling.
It's all draining. It's all draining. Even the people you like, you just don't feel that it's draining. But it's effort. It's care. You're giving a portion of yourself to them. Mm-hmm. And you might not feel it because it gives you the warm fuzzies, but that's what you're doing. And that's why I go back to my thing. God bless that you're doing it. You're a better man than I. You do it for more people than I do. So I am not, I think more people should be like you. And I'm unhappy. I wish I was more like you. Truly. But this is how I feel. Suck it up, pussy. Let's fucking go. If you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're a kid, I'm here for you.
I got you. I think there's a certain part of just me and wanting to help people out.
Where does that come from?
That.
Because you had a great father. You had a great mother.
Oh.
Where does this come from? The juvenile work? Does it come from law enforcement? Does it come from competition? Where do you get the sense of like you want to help the world? Not the world, sorry. I'm being obtuse.
I mean, we just have to just be...
Does everyone deserve that help, Anthony?
I think they need to hear it.
Everyone?
It all depends on when. Yeah. When and what it is. Because I think some people haven't heard the advice that they need, or even just a pat on the back, or just somebody say, like, I'm proud of you, like what you have going on. So it just... I do know, like, I'm a connector. When I meet people, kind of talk, I don't want you to leave like somebody's like my best friend, but I want to have a meaningful interaction. I think that's just in my core. And then I think just what I've done, there's a lot of people that never had any good guidance. And they need some knowledge to help them run this race of life. There's people I've met that, man, I've never met like a positive male figure. There's some that a lot of like in the criminal justice field, their dad was never around. And then I would say when I used to coach wrestling at the middle school, I'd bring my son. And there was one kid who was like, man, I wish I could be your son. Because he saw like how I interacted with my son. And so then you feel sorry for some of the kids. And then I know just from criminal justice research in college and stuff, there's a large percentage that dad was locked up or wasn't around. So then my role is to show them what a positive male looks like. Because, so to get a little bit deeper, man, as far as criminal justice, when you look at like grade schools, there's a lot of like male teachers. When you get to middle school and high school, there's not really as much. And so what are some of the kids receive that male role model from?
Coaches?
Yeah, they have the coaches, which is fantastic. I mean,
if they go for sports.
If they go for sports, exactly. And I know just in my role, I hate meeting kids in the role that I have because you're in the system. And a lot of times they don't even know how to get out. And I'll speak for just being a juvenile PO, you can't use marijuana, but they're smoking weed. And my thing is, man, it's a game. You know, like The Wire, the game is a game. You can go 12 months without smoking weed. Once you're off this probation, then you can
do your thing.
But while you're on this, you can't do it.
It's about the discipline and time frame. That's what you're trying to teach them in that scenario.
Yes.
I'm not saying don't smoke weed. I'm saying don't smoke weed for a little bit.
Exactly.
Show me that. Let's do that.
In this time period, yes. I think it's just me. It's just.
That's why I said you're a better man than mine, dude.
Something about me that I don't mind giving my time to help people out. But you're not going to abuse my time. And then if you're like I said, if you're going to drain me, then I'll just kind of distance myself. But I feel like if you're listening to me, I'm going to keep talking to you.
That's not a two-way street, though. Because what you just described is mentorship. People can cry to you, but how often do you call them?
For advice?
For crying yourself. The people that call you, these kids, these whatever, you probably have a network of individuals that you call when you need them, right? And they might call you when they need you, but I'm sure the network of people that call you when they need you is greater than the people you feel like you can call. And that's what I'm trying to say.
So that's probably my own problem because I only really run to my dad.
That's not a problem, brother.
No.
That's a blessing.
Okay, so it's
that's
a blessing. What I mean by that is that I feel like I'm a rock for a lot of different people.
Yeah.
But I pretty much go to like my rock, my mentor.
Yes.
For mine.
Yes. And how often does he come to you?
My dad? He doesn't, but I check in on him. I see my parents a couple times a week.
Do you think your dad has someone he does go to?
My mom. They've been married 55 years. They're each other's best friends. You see one?
I think your dad did it better than us. That's what I'm saying. I think your dad had it rocked down. That's what I do.
100%.
That's what I think.
100,
I think their
100%.
generation, I think those were men. And I think along the way...
Yes. Because they were true to their word, too. They said what they meant. They meant what they said. If they're going to do something, they're going to do something. It's not this, hey, man, I'll hook up with you on Friday and I'll blow you off. Like, if I'm going to see you Friday after work, I'm going to see you Friday after work.
Do I think that there could be some circumstances or some things that we can add to that? Yes. That their generation was also the generation that was a little bit like EQ, ignorant. Like, I'm not saying that their generation was flawless, but if you were to compare, their generation was better. So what I'm saying is we stepped too far into mental health. We stepped too far into all this other shit. What I'm saying is there's some ground that we could have given, but we gave too much. And what I think we need to do now is course correct. I do believe that. I I I want the kids that I coach to look at me as a powerful, strong, intelligent leader that they can come to whenever they need help. And they will never get a phone call from me ever in their lives, ever. Because in order for them to feel that way about me, I can never show them anything different. I cannot be weak as a man. I can exclusively be weak to a certain number of people. That's why
I'm tracking, yes. Because
why.
whether it's jiu-jitsu, whether it's wrestling, I'm going to impart as much wisdom on or off the mat that I'm capable of. And I will mentor them throughout. Whether they want to be a coach in wrestling, open up their own school in the future, I'm going to give them as much wisdom as I can. Hey, these are probably the pitfalls, the positive, negatives, the kind of things I'm going through now as far as opening up a school. But I think I feel comfortable with who I express my deep feelings to.
Dude, I very much enjoy this conversation. I very much enjoy you. I love the energy you bring. I love the way you think. I like the reverence you have for certain topics. I always say this because like I'm fucking younger than you, but I will say this. I think you're doing it right.
Thank you.
I think you're doing it right for whatever that's worth.
Appreciate it.
I genuinely enjoyed this. I knew this would be a good episode. I knew that I would enjoy my time, but I want you to know that this is exactly why I do podcasts. This is exactly why I do this shit. Dude, thank you. So we've been at this for 2 hours and 45 minutes nonstop.
It went by.
Yeah, it did fucking flies by. So let me offer this. I apologize for any of the parts of the conversation where I kind of hijacked, especially with this spiel about manhood and stuff like that. Dude, the floor is yours. If there's anything you want to say, if there's any topic you want to touch on, now is the time. Feel free.
Okay. I'll say this, I don't mind you like hijacking that part because I know as I have gotten older, I'm more in touch with my feelings. And I know as I've gotten older, like this is a perfect example. Say, back in my 20s, if you broke up with your girlfriend, what would we say? Forget about her. Let's go to the club. Forget about her.
Yeah.
As you get older, it's, are you okay, man? Like y'all were together for X number of years. Are you okay? That's that transition of growth. And I think that's why I kind of had trying to understand like your weakness part, because I need to show some vulnerability to my son so he can understand like how to regulate his emotions, where it is when you should cry and then, okay, you're being a little weak or soft.
How old is your son?
He's 15.
Oh, he's like in that weird, he's not little, but he's not old.
Yeah. And again, he's a nice kid. And there's that part of me is you can't be too nice, son. But I'm mature enough to know he needs to experience life.
He's still young.
He's still young.
When I was 15, I'm a completely different person now. You know what I mean?
Yes. So I mean, I think that's like the protective dad part too.
Let me ask you this last question, and this is what we'll close off on. Because I've been thinking about the kind of father that I want to be as well. And we were talking about like things that we say versus things that when I look back at my own childhood, I don't really remember a whole lot of conversations. I remember the things that I saw and the conversations that I heard that I wasn't involved in. And when you ask me at 33 years old now, I can't remember like my mom sitting me down having a conversation with me. But I remember a conversation my mom and dad had when my mom was crying because they were worried about making ends meet. I'll never forget that conversation. So like, and they didn't know that I heard it. You know what I mean? How much of parenting, if you were to do a pie chart, do you think is the things that we think are important versus the things they think are important? You could tell your son not to cry. Do you think that's what he remembers in 15 years from now?
No.
What do you think he would remember?
He's going to remember the times that was spent.
Yes.
That I was present for whatever he had going on. That's the one thing I am most proud of as far as being a father, that if I don't show up for an event, it'll probably be a big deal. Or like, where's dad at? Because they already know I'm going to be there. I'm going to move a work schedule. I'm going to cancel plans out of town because my kid or kids have something going on. So I'm always going to be present, and they're going to remember the time that was spent. And to kind of give a deeper example is that my oldest daughter I had my kid at 20. Me and her mom broke up. She's about 18 months old, and I would drive to pick her up. And I grab on the weekends. And it was about a 2.5 hour drive to pick her up that Friday. But I would drive up and back. And those were some of the funnest car rides because we were just talking and making up games. Mm-hmm. And it's the quality time, not the quantity. You can have a kid for a whole week and not do anything, but they don't remember the time that you spent watching them or engaging and talking to them. So I would say it's more about what they remember than what we want, because they always remember something different than what you wanted.
What we think is important and what they think is important.
Yes, it's all about what's important for them, and again, just being present for whatever they have going on, and them knowing, like for example, my son has a tennis tournament this coming weekend, but I'm doing a jiu-jitsu seminar up in Chicago, which I already had set, and I'm on the flyer. I was thinking, like, if I were on the flyer, I'd probably stay and watch my boy because he wants to get some revenge on some guys that he had from like another school. But I'm going to always try to be as present as I can with the kids.
Well, here's the thing, dude. At the end of the day, it's also like you have to balance as a parent the financial security, the emotional integrity, the relationship you have. We are first-time parents ourselves. That's what I always tell people is like, hey, give them some grace. Like when I look back at my parents, sorry, I give them grace because I realized that they were doing it for the first time themselves. They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They were figuring it out in real time, just like I'm figuring it out in real time, just like you're figuring it out in real time. Your kids, when they grow up, sorry.
That was me last week.
Yeah, they will also acknowledge this. Like your kid, your son, when he's 30, will look back on, he won't look back on the tennis tournament you missed. He'll look back on the dinner you had where you said something that really resonated with him. So I hope this is what you expected. Sorry, I know that this is like a weird podcast because there's no real structure to it, but like I hope this was enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Talked about jiu-jitsu, a little bit of wrestling, family dynamic, kind of what I did. I enjoyed it. And I love what you're doing. My best example, man, is like I've listened to your show and I'm glad I was watching your show before I really got to know you. Because there's certain people that I knew of, but watching your podcast, I got to know them even more.
Better?
Even better, yes. Because my former coach trained with Tracy Taylor under Rodrigo Vahi. I knew of Tracy Taylor, but I didn't know him. Listen to your podcast, I'm like, okay, I know about Tracy. So, a little bit more. Just, pretty.
That's what I want.
Pretty cool, man.
That's what I want. I think it's a small community. I think that a lot of times as individuals, we kind of like, even with me and you, like we'll say, hey, buddy, good luck. You know what I mean? But I don't know you. I didn't get the chance to sit down with you and like talk to you. Uh-huh. This is the value add. This is why I fucking do this shit. This is therapy for me, to be honest with you. Talking about earlier, but Anthony,
and I would say, man, jiu-jitsu, going to training, and we're talking about like kind of mental health part of it. That's the beauty about the gym. Oh, when you hit the gym, all issues are left at the door. We're not talking about anything but training. Because if you go to the gym thinking about something else, I'm going to get in your butt today.
Actually, I'll go. Pause.
Yeah. I'm going to be the hammer on
not
you.
The nail. That nail. But here's the other thing I'll say to that. If after all that training, your boy stops you afterwards and says, hey, I need to talk to you, and he never does that, what are you going to do? Hey, man, you're going to drop your gi? What's going on?
I'll say you want to talk here, you want to talk in private.
Exactly. This was enjoyable, dude.
Enjoyed it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Damn, almost 3 hours. Holy shit. Anthony.
And after I win Masters Worlds, I'm coming back. No.
Yes. Yeah. When are you competing? When is it?
It's not until September.
Okay.
It's September.
Afterwards, win, lose, or draw, come back. We'll
Okay.
talk about it. I
Will
want to. We can talk about the camp. We can talk about the trip. We can talk about competition. Hopefully, we'll talk about the victory. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if we don't, then we can talk about all the other circumstances. But I would love to sit down and talk to you again.
Okay,
This
sounds
was
great.
truly
Sounds
enjoyable
fantastic.
for me. Brother,